Hurricane Milton is turning closer to the west coast of Florida. Michael Brennan says the greatest danger is not so much the wind, but the powerful storm surge.
10 to 15 feet, so that's well above the height of any person, up to above a 1 to even getting into the second story of a building. And it's not just the water. It's not going to be filling up like a bathtub. This is water that's going to violently be pushed onshore from the Gulf of Mexico with destructive wave action on top of it.
About 1 million people expected to evacuate the region. Others, like Venezuelan Tommy Hall and his family, plan to stay put.
So either you just go out there and camp out somewhere and ride it out, or choose to stay and try to do the best you can while you're here. And that's what we choose. We got gas, food, 2 generators, portable air conditioners to push around to room, so I think we may do okay.
The National Hurricane Center predicts Milton will make landfall late today or early tomorrow near the Tampa Bay region. Norman Hall reports the FBI has arrested an Afghan man who officials say planned an Election Day attack here in the U.S.
According to charging documents, Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi of Oklahoma City told FBI investigators after his arrest Monday that he had planned his attack to coincide with Election Day next month and that he and a co-conspirator expected to die as martyrs. He allegedly had taken steps to advance his attack plans, including ordering firearms and buying one-way tickets for his wife and child to travel home to Afghanistan. I'm Norman Hall.
The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry to David Baker, Demis Hassabis, and John Jumper. That's for their work with proteins. Baker works at the University of Washington in Seattle. Hassabis and Jumper are both employed at Google DeepMind, that's located in London. More of these stories at townhall.com.
For anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
Volatility and uncertainty are everywhere. Many Americans have grown tired of reckless fiscal spending, mounting debt, and threats to the dollar, and are looking for a way out of the fragile paper system. That's why they turn to a gold IRA from Augusta Precious Metals. It's time you learned about the potential benefits a gold IRA can offer. Augusta Precious Metals is a world-class organization priding itself on top-notch service. Get your free guide on gold IRAs today by calling 855-222-4997 now.
And we have a winner in Alaska's Fat Bear Contest.
In Alaska this time of year, bears prepare for a winter of hibernation. And in Katmai National Park and Preserve, that means feeding on the sockeye salmon that return to the Brooks River. The bears often perch at the top of a waterfall, grabbing the leaping salmon as they try to spawn upstream. It's become a highly popular annual spectacle for thousands of humans who can watch via live cameras at explore.org. And that spawned Alaska's Fat Bear Contest. This year's winner, Grazer, her second consecutive title. I'm Ben Thomas.
The U.S. Department of Justice is considering asking a federal judge to force Google to sell parts of his business in order to eliminate its online search monopoly. In a court filing, prosecutors said the judge should also ask Google to give up some of its underlying search engine capacity. Breaking news at townhall.com. The mayor of Serbia's capital, Belgrade, has called for a change of the city's red buses because he says red is the color of socialism.
Aleksandar Šapić says the new livery of Belgrade's buses will be Nemanjić blue, a reference to the royal family which last ruled Serbia in the 14th century. That's despite a previous public vote for city transport vehicles to be red. An extensive repainting programme followed, but Belgrade's mayor now compares the colour to Yugoslav-era hot dog kiosks, and he's demanded another respray. Critics have questioned the cost and accused Mr. Šapić of trying to erase national heritage. The mayor also wants to move the remains of the former Yugoslav leader Tito to his Croatian birthplace.
And that report from the BBC's Guy Delaney, 5 Russian climbers have died. It happened in a fall on the world's 7th highest peak. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
What the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Wednesday.
Yes.
We made it to the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Although, somewhere yesterday, and I'm not sure, sometime in the afternoon, my brain flipped and thought it was Wednesday.
Yeah?
Like my wife was like talking about she had a meeting, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And then I was like, is it at 6 o'clock? She's like, yeah. I said, that's because of, Taco Tuesday, right? I said, oh wait a minute, it's Wednesday, and didn't even think about it. And later on, I said, I got a meeting tomorrow. She goes, no, you don't. It's Thursday. I said, yeah, right. Oh, it's Tuesday.
I actually had the same thing on Monday, feeling like the whole day was Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I understand on that one. The problem is there's like I don't know if it's the NHL playoffs or if it's just a significant game.
It's the starts of the season.
Is the start of the season?
Yeah.
So wrestling is preempted tonight and was on last night. Now they
and that didn't
informed us all.
That didn't help my dilemma because I was
Fair.
flipping channels and was like, all right, nothing on. Oh, Big Bang Theory's on. Wait, there's wrestling on.
Yeah,
I was like, are you sure it's not Wednesday?
And they did their best to let us know in previous episodes. Hey, it's Title Tuesday next week as we are moved one day earlier. I just completely forgot until it was like 9 o'clock, and I'm kind of just scrolling through YouTube, and I see Dynamite highlights. I'm like, oh, come on!
So can you catch it on the?
Oh, I just caught. Well, the beauty of YouTube and of social, is all the big bits, all the good bits. They usually just put them up on YouTube anyways.
So you got the Cliff Notes version of last night, basically.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't get is like
none of the fluff.
The stuff that they don't want you to see.
Yeah.
It's kind of the reason I watch live because you want to see the screw ups, the botches,
absolutely the flub.
And they're not going to put those up on YouTube, so you're hard
they
pressed.
Would probably get a bigger. Impression on social media.
Well, and the beauty of that is there's, there's soldiers in the field, as we say, but there's dudes like this guy Matthew who gathers all the botches from across all of the Wrestle Kingdom, and
he's the botch man.
And then he puts a show out called Botchamania, which is it's like a weekly delve into all the screw ups in inside the ring.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's a fun watch.
I bet that guy's got a room full of belts.
Oh, yeah. Sure he does. Spinners, little mini ones.
Uh-huh.
And somehow sadly, I'm jealous of that guy.
All I know is those people better not make fun of Star Wars people. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. That is fair.
Because you're making fun of their toys at the show, your toys is just different toys. Just say toys.
Oh, okay, you got a 1/100th scale TIE fighter. Okay, I'm gonna go shine my belt.
Right. It's actual authentic size.
Right. And that's the thing is the whole of the sport that I follow.
Yeah.
Their pursuit is a thing that doesn't even do the thing it's supposed to do. Like a belt holds pants up. Those don't hold. That's going to pull your pants down, if anything else.
That's correct. Like NHL hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a fancy cup, but technically it is a cup. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's more of a bowl, but it is. It is a cup. It functions as a cup.
Okay, now this is something I've always had a problem with the Stanley Cup. For the pomp and circumstance that is the statue of the Stanley Cup statue itself, the cup is remarkably small.
Well,
like when I think, okay, do you remember the Denslow Cup from basketball?
Right.
That's what they need on top of the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
It's a big bowl.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but let me tell you a little bit about that thing.
Let me educate you right now, young blood.
Of course, I've told you all the stories that, it's been through and all that.
Right.
But the actual trophy itself is the bowl, the cup.
Right.
What you got below is filler. See, what happens is when your team wins the Stanley Cup, your entire team, all the players, all their names get engraved on the cup.
Okay.
And what those round, the parts, the bottom part of it, the big barrel part, that's the part where the names go.
Okay.
There's 4 tiers or 3 tiers?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. After one fills up, it comes off the cup and goes into the Hall of Fame. If you go into the Hall of Fame, there's a bunch of round the tiers, and it's the names and everything else. So really, the actual trophy is the cup,
but
the smaller part.
But that's the problem. The filler has overtaken the actual prize itself.
But that's what made it the monstrosity that it is, and quite frankly, it would look a lot weirder. Those players skating around the rink with that little bowl while they're it looks much more impressive with that big thing.
I just think if you get that a bigger size bowl, you can put squeak inside.
Yeah.
You can.
Well, but the bowl, that's the part that's actually valuable. That part is the part that's been around for 100+ years,
right.
And is and I think there is engravings on the original part of that, the original Stanley Cup winners. But when they ran out of room, the rest was great. So, it's awkward, but it's. If you know the history, it makes sense why it's like that. So, but anyway, but again, once again, I always argue the coolest trophy in all of professional sport is that Stanley Cup.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely. Although the Lombardi Trophy is pretty. I mean,
but here's the difference between the Lombardi Trophy. Every team has one, and so there's like 50 million of them.
Fair.
Like you go and you walk into Washington's thing. There's 3 of them sitting there. You walk into the Patriots. There's 7 of them sitting there, or whatever it is. There's only one cup. That's it. You don't get to keep the cup. The cup goes whoever wins it, and that's it. You know, so it's all you get is pictures and video of you owning and having the cup.
Well,
and
that kind of brings it back to pro wrestling. It's because you don't actually own. In fact, did you know? Like, I don't think it's like this anymore. But back in the day, you actually had to pay to carry the belt. Like it was like $10,000 you had to put down.
Wow.
To carry
I would win the championship, but I'm broke.
Specifically the WCW title back in the day because it was the big gold title, and to like rent it to keep it on your person because you're required to have it with you at all times. You had to put a $10,000 deposit down. I guess you got it back when you lost the belt, but.
I think I get some insurance on that thing,
right? It was definitely a thing back in the day, but
put that on the winner.
But that's why, because there's only the one, Yeah. It's like, I mean, they could have another one made, but this is the one that's the story that's been carried for generations. And
if you ever notice, like before a potential night where the Stanley Cup could be won, there's like that cup is in the building. But there's guys in tuxedos with white gloves guarding the case that it's in. It's a whole spiel. It's funny because they literally treat it with kid gloves until it gets into the player's hands and then it goes through all kinds of stuff.
I've heard if that cup could talk, it would scream.
Oh yeah, it's been pulled, it's fallen out of limos. Various things have been put in it.
Bodily fluids have been emptied into it.
Those are rumors. I don't know if they've.
I feel like that cup.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, you ever seen the movie Cars? The ultimate prize in the movie Cars is called the Piston Cup.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it at that. It's the only way I could think to say it on the radio.
those wacky Pixar writers, they love to get.
It's one of my favorite moments in Cars. Mater, Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
You did what in your cup?
I better get the rundown in the hour going. I just saw the time. We're going to replay an interview this hour. Dr. Sean Powell joined us yesterday from Eastern New Mexico University here in Roswell and gave us an update, talked a little bit about Bond 3, and of course talked about the next 8 weeks of classes here for the fall semester startup this week. They're in midterm, so we get the updates there from Dr. Powell. In the 8 o'clock hour, keeping it in the education room, we'll have Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, join us, give us an update on last school board meeting and other things happening around the RISD. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to have folks, I'm not sure if it'll be the maestro or just some other folks from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra, talking about some of their upcoming shows and events as they're kind of in their season right now with a bevy of gigs and shows going on here. I know you've done a couple ads for various shows for the Symphony Orchestra here, so we'll talk about all that with them in the 9 o'clock hour. So, and then, of course, we'll have all of your features, newses, and all that good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. On that note, it is 7:15. Let's take a gander at your weather. It's kind of boring weather this week, but not in a bad way. You know what I mean? Boring, but good.
It's still just too hot on the backside of my neck when I'm, out trying to pick my son up in the afternoon. I'm always doing this thing, I'm just done with hot sun rays. That's all. If we could just get rid of those, good to go.
I know, like in the 80s, there was a time where those baseball caps with that little
extra long,
with that little veil thing in the back that kind of was popular.
It's definitely not a thing anymore.
Bring that back.
I do remember that from like watching the show Pete and Pete when I was a kid.
Yeah,
when like the coach or something had one of those hats.
I would say there was a good summer or two where those were popular.
I'm definitely not going to be the one to be able to bring that one back though. You need like a DiCaprio or something.
They seem to be very prevalent at places like a Six Flags or, in my case, a King's Dominion.
People wearing the hat with that drape are the same people that have the glint of sunscreen on the nose.
Yeah. Although during that time, it was trying to be adopted by a certain sect of like skater biker types. That I'm talking not like Harley. I'm talking BMX guys.
That hat specifically, because I don't remember seeing that hat.
They were like, but they were almost comboed like a bicycle hat at the time. Remember those bicycle hats
brims
with the little brim that flipped up, and but they had that tail veil thing. And then they had some that were like, I remember one that was like almost like a drag racing build. It was like longer, narrow, but it was white, but it had a split. Like it had the veil, but it had split, so you could kind of go. I don't know.
See, I've only ever have scant memories of the neck cover part.
Yeah.
But the smalls from Sandlot brim, that was a big thing back in that day. Of course, that was the same reason. You wear it backwards, you cover up the neck,
So, but yeah, it was only a hot minute in there.
And it was a hot minute. That's why they needed the cover.
Maybe one cool song.
It was that same like era of time that everybody was talking about the hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah.
So that's why we needed that extra neck coverage.
Like it was not uncommon to see one wear a hat like that and then have like black and white Vans, checkered Vans. That makes sense.
I can see it.
All right, it is 7:18. Let's take a gander at your, as I started to introduce, boring weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Things look pretty good for the next couple of days. Temperatures will stay warm with that high-pressure system overhead. Low 90s for the afternoon high today. We should get sunshine, and the wind should stay fairly light. We'll be in the mid-50s and clear for the overnight hours. About the same for Thursday, low to mid-90s and mostly sunny. Mid-90s on Friday and sunshine, sunny and warm for the weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 59 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 41%. Says winds are variable at the moment, 3 miles per hour. By the way, not much of them. Sunny today and warmer. This is a warm one, 94 today. Winds will be out of the southwest, later shifting to the southeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mostly clear tonight with an overnight low of 53 degrees. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, once again, another warm one, sunny and 94 tomorrow. Winds out of the northwest at around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, clear with an overnight low of 54 degrees. South winds at around 5 miles per hour. Friday, once again, sunny skies and a high of 94. So 3 days in a row we're looking at this. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. And then looking at the weekend on Saturday, sunny skies and a high of 96. And then sunny on Sunday with a high of 91. But then Monday, we drop down to 83. So I'm guessing a cold front rolls in Sunday night or something like that there. All right, it is 7:19. We're going to take about a 3.5 minute break. We'll also have your LaGrone and Ballard remembrance for today as well. Then on the other side, we're going to play our interview with Dr. Sean Powell at Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. That's up next. Don't go away. Ballard Funeral Home and Crematory and LaGrone Funeral Chapel have been celebrating life for over 90 years. Ballard Funeral Home and Crematory celebrates and remembers Gene Willis passed away Thursday, October 3rd. Services will be scheduled at a later time. James Seeley passed away Friday, September 27th. Services will be Friday, October 11th, 11 a.m. at the family ranch. Celestino Baca passed away Thursday, October 3rd. Services will be Tuesday, October 15th, 10 a.m. at Ballard. Thelma Marie Moss passed away Thursday, October 3rd. Celebration of life will be scheduled at a later date. LaGrone Funeral Chapel celebrates and remembers Catherine Ann Marie Foster, who passed away on Saturday, October 5th. Services are pending at this time. And Patrick Stephen O'Mara passed away Tuesday, October 1st. Services are pending at this time. This has been today's remembrance, brought to you by Ballard Funeral Home and Crematory and LaGrone Funeral Chapel.
The Roswell Symphony Orchestra is warming up for their 66th season, and you're invited to opening night with KO Plays Elgar, Saturday, October 12th, 7:30 p.m. at Pearson Auditorium in Roswell. Brahms' Academic Festival Overture and Elgar's Concerto for Cello and Orchestra bookends the world premiere of Bucolic Celebration, written by Southeast New Mexico's own Mark Del Porto. Tickets are available now online at roswellsymphony.org or at the door. Get your tickets now, then come be a part of opening night of the historic 66th season of the Roswell Symphony Orchestra, sponsored in part by the City of Roswell Lodgers Tax.
At Artesia General Hospital, we know it's early, but schedule your mammogram today and save. Call 855-RAD-EXAM and save 10% off mammograms scheduled through October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And get a refreshing drink discount from Kith & Kin in Artesia or Blue House in Carlsbad. We use leading-edge, FDA-approved Genius 3D mammography technology to deliver more accurate results faster and with more comfort. Women over 40 do not need a referral for yearly screenings. Learn more at artesiageneral.com/mammogram.
Picture this. You're behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor. You're effortlessly breaking ground, moving piles of rocks just by moving a lever, and enjoying the sun as you clear brush across your pasture. We could keep trying to put you in the moment, but to really understand what this feels like, you just have to get in the seat.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
The weather is changing, and what is cooler than being at the Cow? Well, we can't think of anything. The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell is your authorized Brothers Sewing Machine dealer for Southeast New Mexico, and they're all on sale right now at the Calico Cow. New fabric styles for fall are here, and holiday and Christmas fabrics continue to arrive daily. If you're still stitched to your own machine and you just want a tune-up, call for in-house maintenance, 575-639-2586. The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the Cow.
Join Hot New Country 92.9 The Brand and Fiero 106.1 FM for a special live broadcast this Saturday from 10 to 1 at Roswell Ford. If you think you're stuck in your loan or lease, come see just how easy it is to get out from under your current payment. Top dollar for your trade and special incentives means you can drive in today and drive away in a newer vehicle for less than you're paying now. We'll be on hand with some tasty treats and even a few surprises. We'll see you this Saturday, 10 to 1 at Roswell Ford, corner at 9th and Main in Roswell.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
Yes. And good morning. It is 8:26, and joining us in studio this morning from Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell, President Dr. Sean Powell back with us. We got to get titles. President, Dr.
Sean works fine, sir.
There you go. But good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. It's going well, Mike. Thank you for having me on the show today. Appreciate the chance to come and talk.
Anytime. And of course, it is a busy time of year for right now. I mean, it's always kind of busy out at ENMUR, but really a lot of shifting in things here. Of course, fall semester's full on here, and you know, they're just getting through midterms, and they're probably going to be talking about finals here in a couple weeks before you know it. You got your second session of classes for the fall semester. They're kicking off here right about now, and of course elections right around the corner, and so there's
Absolutely.
a lot going on the campus. And by the way, besides all that official stuff, there's always events. Like if you need resources, there's so much on campus that's offering that kind of stuff. So it's a busy time of year at the college.
Yeah, this is actually midterm week, and so the second 8 weeks will be starting pretty soon, and we have a variety of classes, some computer classes, some business courses, as well as general education classes. If someone wants to get into the second 8 weeks term, I would encourage them to do that right away.
Excellent. There's some advantages to this. Like if you're trying to get to a certain goal, you can take some of this and get some of it. But here's the thing. These are accelerated classes, so you're going to be doing twice the work in half the time. So you got to kind of remember that and be committed. It's like your workload will get a little heavier on these, but you get the work done in half the time. By the end of the year, you are completed that class and got your credit and ready to either graduate or move on to your next level of your education.
Sure, and it's just an opportunity for some of the students who maybe didn't get enrolled early in the semester and took a little bit of time to get that done, or something else happened, and this is an opportunity for folks to come back and get those classes completed before the end of this term.
Absolutely, too. Yeah, that gives you a chance. You said, and this is the great thing, again, where I talk about doing this at Eastern versus doing this at a much larger, university setting. This is so when you have these issues going on, all you got to do is raise your hand, or when the class is over, walk down the steps or down to the front of the class and talk to your professor, and they're going to help you. You don't have to make an appointment. You don't have to go through this rigmarole or email gauntlet or whatever. Yes, everyone has set hours and things but at East here at NMUR, you literally just walk in. You got a question. It's just like high school or whatever. The people that you need to talk to are accessibly easy. Whereas when you do get in a major, larger school where sometimes class size is a couple hundred people, you got to make appointments. There's a certain, but you don't get the personalization, or you don't get maybe the guidance that sometimes folks need to navigate through this stuff. And so, if you got to deal with these kinds of things, these transition, please talk to every staff member, whether they're in a financial aid office or the enrollment office or in the curriculum side of things. They're going to help you navigate to get you to wherever you're trying to go there, put you in the right place.
Absolutely. And the words that you're saying ring true for everyone who's there on campus. We've got great faculty and staff members that are helping all the students reach their academic goals. I got some words yesterday, a statement from a student who was in one of our health science programs, and she was very complimentary of the program, the small class sizes, the availability of instructors. I read that message yesterday, and what you're saying is just about the paraphrase of what she put in her statement.
And it makes, and for a lot of people, that's the difference between success and failure here is, especially, and it's true for everyone, because you might think, okay, that's great for younger people fresh out of high school, because in high school, you kind of have people on you, kind of don't forget, do this, and in college, especially when you get to a major university, you're expected to be an adult. No one's going to wake you up to go to class. No one's going to make sure you did your term paper. You're not going to have professors reminding you at 20, don't forget, that's not that world. But at Eastern, you kind of transitioned into that. Yes, they treat like an adult and everything else, but at the same time, they do remind you, yes, you're human. Where do you need help here? You don't have to do the resource. And that's the part here. And now some people, if you're self-motivated, that 4-year university, but most of us aren't built that way. Most of us, when the unknown, we kind of want resources and things. And so that's what we're talking about here. If you get lost in that world and then you get turned around and can't find resources, you get frustrated, then your chances of you giving up on that pursuit of your dream, your degree, or whatever you're going for, really diminishes. Where at Eastern, when you hit those walls, there's a million resources, because you're going to hit a wall. College, if it was easy, everyone would have a college degree. There's going to be challenges. They're testing you. They're trying to make a better human out of you. And so you got to push the envelope a little bit to get that done. But when you hit those moments, there's a slew of resources, where at a major university, it's a little hard to navigate and get around that. Where here, it really, like you just said with that testimonial, there are so many things when you have those moments of struggle, because that's going to happen. This is where success happens. You get through that, and next thing you know, the struggle turns into a triumph, which turns into confidence, which makes you guess what? A better overall person and ready to handle what the next thing it hits you with. So that's what it's about.
Well, and we have so many services set up to assist students reach their goals, whether it's a writing lab or a math lab. We've got a veterans center set up. We've got a food pantry. We've got academic advising. There's online 24-hour a day, 7-day a week access to behavioral health and healthcare programs through our Timely Care app. And so students have a lot of variety and opportunities for success, in addition to talking with their instructors.
Absolutely. And all of this working around your life schedule, whether you're a devoted full-time student or you're working full-time and then taking classes in the evenings or whenever, or, or a retiree that, you're just taking a part-time class. But you know what I mean? Whatever that pursuit is, they've got you covered that way. And that's why I highly recommend, and since the state of New Mexico a half dozen years ago or so lined up the curriculum, so every major university in the state of New Mexico, you take English 101 at ENMUR, it's the exact same class if you took it at UNM or Highlands or wherever you went to college in the state of New Mexico, it's the same. And that works well. So you said, you know what, I'm gonna get my associate's degree here at ENMUR, and then I'm gonna go transfer up to UNM to be a doctor or whatever it is you're gonna do. And guess what? You don't lose 0 credits. It's a seamless transition from one to the other. And guess what? It's thousands of dollars cheaper when you got that first half down here versus getting it all up there at UNM.
Absolutely.
That's why I say, why would you? Why would you do that if you can literally do the same thing, the same quality, probably, and like I said, more amenities personally at half the price? Why? I'm not a math wizard. I'm not, but the logic there. Crack that logic. I can't find a crack there.
Well, and with the opportunity scholarship that's available, the students can come in, and for the vast majority of New Mexico residents, they're going to qualify for that opportunity scholarship, and that's free tuition and fees.
Absolutely.
So
you get more bang out of that buck, basically.
Lots of opportunities.
In essence, the first 2 years could be pretty much free out of pocket if you play your cards right.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what he's saying. So I highly recommend, like you said, if you're interested, maybe saying, these 8 weeks, okay, come on down to the campus day, talk to admissions, get enrolled if you're not, and then let's talk financial aid, and let's talk course, and let the staff go to work for you. Now's a good time, especially for that thing, because, it's a little busy this week, but really with everyone focusing on midterms, the financial aid office, places like that are probably going to be a little less busy this week. So it might be a good time for you to talk and hit them up and start that path here.
And the spring enrollment hasn't occurred yet, but that'll open up later this month.
Yeah, I would say we're weeks away from that.
Weeks away from spring, but the second term of the fall is open now.
Yeah.
However, you could get enrolled and get all of the paperwork in line in order to be ready to go for the spring. Absolutely. If that's something you're looking at doing as well.
And this is something that I always tell folks, when you're signing up for classes, especially classes that are popular or the ones that everybody needs, the earlier you do that, the more flexibility you create your scheduling for yourself. If you go in there the first week when they're announcing courses are open, you're probably going to be able to plot and plan your schedule pretty well. If you wait till Christmas break, you're not going to have as many options because people, we're the land of mañana. And if you go that first week or two in January before class starts, you're really going to be scrambling. And so if you want to create less stress for yourself, go ahead and get that knocked out now. Here in a couple weeks when that spring semester officially opens for registration, you can casually in your bathrobe start clicking and online. Yep, I need that class. Ooh, 8 o'clock works perfect for me on Tuesday. Whatever that is, you can do that and don't have to finagle. It's like, oh, this one works perfect. It's only one time and this, yeah. Because now you're thinking, especially if you need classes that are also not as popular, where they're limited time. Like we only offer this 1 day a week. And it's this time, so you got to basically build around those. You're like, all right, well, I get that one I got to have, so I got to do what else works around that. And so, but if you do that in November instead of doing that in January, it's a lot easier.
Right.
That's my tip. I know I was long around the corner on that.
Well, and I tell the same thing to our faculty and staff members. We have a great opportunity with our relationship with Eastern New Mexico University, the host campus in Portales, because our faculty and staff have the opportunity to earn bachelor's degrees or master's degrees from Portales, and that's something that's a benefit of employment.
Absolutely.
So they can take up to 9 credit hours a semester while they're working for us full time.
So if you're looking for work, there might be some great opportunities at Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell, and and as a college who's in the business of making people's lives and grow better, they offer the same for the people that call them employees too.
Yes, right. We want to promote that professional development.
Sure,
for
and of course it creates your own chain of command ladder here. It's like when you got these young folks that are maybe younger junior professors, and next thing you know, you're giving them their training through the Eastern New Mexico University system, and next thing you know, those are going to be your department heads and your leaders in 5-10 years down the road here. So,
right.
It's kind of nice. You're building from within. It's a good thing. So, one other thing we need to talk a little bit about is the elections.
And let me lead into this with a conversation I had yesterday.
Yes.
So I'm going to take you back a little bit. So I want to talk about early college, high school first,
Excellent.
And then we'll lead up to the elections
for the bond. Got you. Segued in.
So I want to just think about this in May of 23.
Okay.
So about a year and a half ago or so, right?
Give or take.
Yeah. One of the graduates of early college, high school, I don't want to say his name, but I was talking with him just yesterday, graduated from ECHS with his associates in airframe and power plant. So he got his AMT degree.
He's a full-on airline mechanic now.
And so he is fully licensed as an A&P mechanic. He's working locally.
And he graduated from high school 1 year ago. A year and a half ago, roughly.
And finished his degree, yes. And so now he is working at a local maintenance repair organization at the Air Center. And we were talking about his career progression and where he is in terms of looking at his jobs and looking at future education yesterday. And if you remember, we had a graduate who was 77 last year, Paul Miller, a guy from Arizona that graduated, and he was a graduation speaker for us. So I showed him that graduation speech from just this last May, and I said, "You're 58 years ahead of this fellow, okay? You already have your A&P. You've got your
you got a pretty high ceiling here."
Yeah, and so he's working at a local MRO. He's from Roswell, and he wants to stay in the area.
Nice.
So we were just talking about future opportunities, and so that leads into the election piece because today is, as you know, the first day of early voting.
That's right.
And there is a bond question, Bond 3, on the back of the ballot. And this would allow us to expand that aviation maintenance technology building and hopefully grow those classes.
Yes. I mean, you see the handwriting on the wall here that this is an industry that needs a lot of people and a lot of, qualified people in the industry fast. COVID really hurt the airline industry, and we're still recouping from that. So how do we do that? It's the universities, training, and ENMUR, due to luck of being a former, Air Force base, is kind of situated to be in the tip of the spear in training in the aviation industry right now. So this is what this is what it's about. They have a great program right now, but it can be better because the technology's changing constantly. How you work on an airplane 20 years ago versus how you work on an airplane in 2024 is not the same thing. And so you got to stay up to date on the technologies. And so this is what, if you vote yes on this Bond 3, this is what it's going to do for ENMUR, where they're going to take that money. Now, the good news is this isn't going to, this is already, basically we're asking for an extension. This has already been earmarked. It's not going to increase your taxes. It's not going to impact any of those kind of things. But, to issue the bond, they need the public's approval on that.
Right.
It's, in essence, free money for the campuses. All of this has been earmarked, and this is for every higher education institution in the state. NMMI is going to benefit from this with some renovations to some of their buildings and things over there. And this is kind of like about every year, every election cycle here, we get them come on. Like last time, thank you to everyone that we voted yes and approved. That dealt with a lot of the lighting and security, some of those aspects of the campus there. Prior to that, the automotive the restoration and upgrade of the whole automotive department, that was thanks to your bonds. Now we're doing it for the aviation department here. And so we're asking you he can't ask you to vote yes. He can just say, this is what we're doing. It's a good thing. I'm telling you, yes. It's not going to impact you in any way, shape, or form. All it does is bring more community, more resources and more opportunity to Southeast New Mexico, through NMMI, through Eastern New Mexico University Roswell, and through every other college in Southeast New Mexico and across the state.
And as you said, this is giving the state the ability to sell that bond that's been in the market, and this happens every 2 years where capital projects are set aside. The funding for them are guaranteed through these bonds, and they know what amount they're going to have. And so this year it's $230 million statewide. Again, no tax increase if it passes, no tax decrease if it fails. And for us, it's a 10,000 square foot addition to our aviation maintenance program, which would add additional hangar space. Also, we've been working with local maintenance repair organizations to figure out what we're wanting to do with the other spaces for classroom labs, whether they're going to be composites or avionics or whatever training that might come up. And so we're very hopeful that this bond will pass. It would be about a $7.1 million project, and we're working with local contractors to the best of our ability. Wade Construction, for example, is going to be on campus pretty soon on that nurse expansion that we've talked about in the past, and that's going to be going on with the Reno Air Races happening. I know there's a group from Roswell out there now in Reno during the event that's going on out there.
Matter of fact, I just saw yesterday they released the dates for September for the actual Reno Air Races, and I think their tickets are all of that set in motion like yesterday. So So there's some bigger and better things coming there too.
And I saw a heat map. You talk about the tickets for Reno. This isn't something that is just one or two states. This is international.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every state in the country
has
ESPN.
Representation. This is a big deal.
So the city's working hard to make sure the Air Center is ready to receive them. We're working on the campus with them to make sure that our facilities are ready to go. But this bond issue, again, it's on the back of the ballot. If you start voting today or go to vote today,
flip your ballot over.
Flip the ballot over, and there's 4 bonds. The first one is for senior centers.
And again, it's all the same requirements, stipulations, except for that's earmarked for senior facilities and things so they can improve those as well. So, but it works exactly the same way. So I highly recommend voting yes on those 2 to support those programs.
And the bond 2 is for libraries, and I want to mention that because that's all libraries in the state, including the ones at our campus and at the Institute.
Absolutely. Your public libraries, every school library, to elementary schools, to colleges. So, again, might want to say that's a good one.
And I haven't mentioned, the Institute's ask this time is $2 million to do some air conditioning repair and replacement at one of their classroom buildings. So really, this is over a $9 million increase in opportunity and economic development for
and it's
Chavez
not going to
County.
cost you anything. You're not going to see any negative impact in your financial world because of this. But the state needs your permission to go ahead and do this. So that's why we're asking you, please turn your ballot over, vote yes on these, because really, and I'm telling you right now, some institutions, this is going to be a big, yes, NMUR would really like this, and it's going to be a great benefit. But let's face it, they're not going to have to close the doors if they vote no on this thing. There are going to be some places around the state that they may not be able to stay open if people vote no on some of these things like that. And I'm sorry, anytime you're shutting down a library or an educational institution, that's not progress. That's that's the opposite. And so I support this because this is how you want to see things better in this state. This is how it happens. You gotta support the institutions and the things that are trying to make that better.
Well, and again, it is a statewide election. We hope to carry Chavez County this time out. We didn't the last election. But we did the previous 2, so I feel very fortunate, to be here in Chavez County. We appreciate the support of the community. And if anyone has any questions, please go to our website. Yeah. There's tons of information about the GO bond request that we have out there.
I got a question just on kind of the mechanics on how it works. Like I'm just gee whiz curious.
Sure.
Like if each county, city, municipality, you hear of capital outlay, and how that generally works is there's a capital outlay fund. And when the state deems it, and so basically each municipality has a list of like 10 things, and they got to prioritize it. And then basically the state gets to pick okay, we're going to fund that one on your thing, we're going to fund this one on their thing, or not fund it. For this one, how does it work that way? Do you have to give them a list of projects you want to do and they pick it, or do they say, you've got X amount of dollars, do it whether you want with it, or do you say, this is what we want to do, I need $5 million? How does that work?
So as you can imagine, there is some government involvement with
I
this.
would imagine, yes.
And so what happens is each of the institutions of higher ed have a facility master plan.
Okay.
And that plan lays out the priorities for the next 5 or so years. We just revised ours, and we have the current master plan for 2025 to 2030.
Mm-hmm.
This particular addition to the aviation maintenance hangar was first put on our list when we developed the 2020 to 2025 facility master plan. So we've been
Gotcha.
talking about this since 2019.
Sure. But is that something you have to submit to the state, or is that just in-house stuff?
So what happens is last summer in 23, so in the odd summer years, we make a proposal to the Higher Education Capital Outlay Committee. This is going to sound very boring, so hopefully I won't put anybody to sleep.
But I am just was curious the other day, because I know there's a system, but how does that one work?
So in the summer of the odd years, then like last summer, we proposed 2 projects.
Okay.
And we prioritize them, and we say, we would like to have the aviation maintenance technology building expansion be our number 1 priority. Our number 2 priority is another project.
So it's a little capital outlay list in that way.
And so then the higher education department reviews it, and then sometime in October of that year, so a year ago, they put it on the list, and they showed us which one they were choosing. Well, then it has to go through the legislature to be on the list.
So it is a whole rigmarole.
And then so this was proposed. These projects were proposed in the summer of 23. They went to the legislature in 24 to be on the list next month. And right now and through next month.
So in theory, yours probably already the master plan where we're trying to submit through the process for the next bond.
Right.
What project you want to fund and with that next bond. So really that's kind of interesting. You guys really have to be 6 years ahead or 4 years ahead of that, in terms of trying to get the funding for it.
Well, we have a 5-year plan on our campus, and we look at that, and we shared it with campus just a couple of weeks ago, and we're also getting some feedback on priorities, because those are the kinds of things we're looking at. What are we going to be presenting next summer? Because this is an ongoing process every 2 years, and that's the reality of this is this $9 million is available right now in this time frame. If it doesn't pass statewide, well, it's not going to be available, and it moves everything up 2 more years, and it pushes everything else down the road.
So it
2
does
more
throw
years.
a wrench in the works if you vote no on these
right
here, and so that's why yourself and the superintendent over at NMMI, that's why you guys really do hitting all the civics luncheons and everything on every week, because we need to stress the importance of this. This money is really. This is how this campus grows. This is how, think about just by you voting yes, you can really set the table for NMUR almost like this. This is a big one. This maintenance one, because the juice here is so, the squeeze that could potentially come from this is so, this is the kind of stuff that sets NMUR up as being like the resource. We think of, one of the best nursing programs in the state, NMUR. People know that. That's universal. The same thing's about to happen to aviation maintenance, and NMUR is going to turn into the authority in the state. And by you voting yes on this bond, that's going to set the table for that to happen. And that's really what we're doing.
Again, I appreciate those words and the support. We're hopeful that the project will pass, and then we'll be able to expand that program. And again, at the Institute, they're looking to replace 40-year-old air conditioning that they can't get parts for any longer.
Well, and they have a different, but also the same. Like your buildings aren't exactly the new. There's some of those are World War II era buildings, and so, but let's face it, the buildings over at NIMI, they're like, oh yeah, World War II homo beer. I got some beer. Mine got a few that've been about 50, 60 more years in front of that one.
Absolutely.
And so these are historical buildings, and historical buildings are picky, persnickety, and you gotta treat them right. You gotta maintenance the same way, and so NMMI does have a unique perspective of their own. Not only they're educating, they're preserving history there a little bit. So some of their stuff it does both. It's to ensure the next generation of cadets have the latest technology, but at the same time preserving the history that comes with that facility.
And as you mentioned, all of their buildings are on the historical register, so that brings in and of itself some complications because they can't change the outside facade too much.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of, because of those rules that for historic buildings.
Right.
It is that thing. But this keeps them in compliance and things. But unfortunately, it generally does cost more money to renovate or upgrade a facility at NMMI because of that historic caveat that comes with that.
Right.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's because guess what? Because of these kinds of things, your grandkids are going to go to the NMMI campus, and it's going to look kind of like how it does right now.
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of it. Just kind of how it looks, when your grandfather went there, or whatever.
Right.
That's
and people talk about the relationship between our campus and the institute, and we serve different populations for the most part. They serve 6 to 14, starting grade 6 up through junior
and
college.
let's face it, they have an international footprint.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, you don't have slews of students from China or some Polynesian country, enough to where they can have clubs and things like that at the campus. They have a bigger footprint that way.
Absolutely. Well, and that just reminds me, there are a couple of things coming up. So we will have our Veterans Day observation on our campus November 6th.
Excellent.
We're going to do it early because NIMI will have their breakfast on the 11th.
You don't want to compete.
There's other school district opportunities and observations going on that day.
No one wants to miss the NMMI breakfast. Like, you guys would be like, we're going to breakfast over at NMMI. Right. So we want to work it so everybody gets to do all of the things.
But the superintendent, General McBurnett, is going to be our guest speaker at our observation on the 6th.
Very good.
So
matter of fact, I just got some stuff from them here. We might be having the superintendent on the radio here. Now he's got settled in. I think he wants to kind of meet the public here.
Right.
So I imagine we'll be talking to him here soon. But you don't have to wait till then. Come out on November 6th for the veterans observation. Because you can't really say celebration. That's not really the right word. But yeah, honoring our vets.
Yes. And it'll be at 11 o'clock in our ITC Commons area on November 6th.
And by the way, veterans, they have resources for veterans too out there. They have student pantries for all students, but they've got similar things for just veterans too out there too as well. So please, if you are in need of those, or if you have a buddy or a family that's in need of that, don't hesitate to point them out to that.
Yeah.
And of course, don't forget also too, we have a very fine American Legion post and VFW posts and some veterans here that look out for veterans too. So reach out. There's a lot of people in this community that are ready and willing and wanting to help veterans in need. So.
Absolutely.
Good deal. What else? Did we get it all?
I think we've covered most of the topics
I know
today.
it's a lot, and then when we get here and there, but yeah, like I said, it's a busy time right now. So if you want to sign up here for the second 8-week part of the fall semester here, you're behind the 8 ball. Now's the time to do it. Registration's going because they're about to start classes here ASAP here. So if you want to do it, you need to get down to the campus and get that ball rolling right now. But if you're signed up for spring semester here, you can start getting registered if you're not. But here in about 2 weeks or so, you'll be able to get online and start registering for classes and doing all that good stuff here. But if you're not registered, now's a good time to do that and get your financial aid locked up and things. And, of course, any resources, questions you have, anything, what you're looking for, give the campus a call or come on down or go to roswell.enmu.edu and find it there online. If you're a Facebook user, there's several Facebook pages through ENMU I invite you to follow. I know from time to time that's your platform to kind of have your talks and kind of talk to people about things around the campus. That's a good thing to lock into, and so you can kind of stay abreast of what's going on. And that way you just stay plugged in. And obviously, if you're a student, please reach out. Whether you go at night or whatever, that campus is for you. Come in and see the campus. I know, people's lives are busy. And so, it's like, I go to campus, but I'm there once a week, and I'm there from this time to this time, and you don't stop to smell the roses and see all the other cool stuff on the campus. So if you get the chance, I highly recommend you do it. You'll be like, dang, I didn't realize I had all these cool things available to me.
Right. Lots of different programs for sure. But
absolutely.
Again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and hope the rest of your day goes well. And again, today's the first day of early voting.
Get out and vote, and please vote. I'm saying it, vote yes on Bond 3, and for that matter, all the other bonds on the back of the ballot there too. Thank you, Dr. Powell.
Thank you.
We'll see you here next time.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, it is 8:57. Let's take a quick commercial break to pay bills and for lunch before news. Don't go away.
Police in Carlsbad have released body cam video showing interviews with the mother of the child, who eventually confessed that she accidentally smothered the child and then buried the baby's body in the rural area. The woman first claimed that she had given the child to a friend because she and her husband were homeless and living in a car. As of yet, no criminal charges have been filed in the case, so we are not releasing the names of those involved. The New Mexico Department of Transportation Traffic Safety Division, Safer New Mexico Now, and the Frank W. Yates Jr. Family Foundation are hosting the Cy Palmer Memorial Car Seat Clinic. The event will be from 10 to 1 on Saturday at the Bulldog Stadium in Artesia. The annual car seat clinic is held as a celebration of life and remembrance of Cy Palmer, a 7-year-old who tragically was killed as the result of a crash in November 2017. Although Palmer was wearing a seatbelt, he was not using a booster seat, which authorities say ensures the seatbelt fits correctly and the passenger is properly restrained in the event of a crash. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Running a business is tough. Operational demands change fast, and keeping up can feel impossible. That's where DSI comes in. We've been helping local businesses thrive for over 25 years. You might know us for printer products, but we're your one-stop shop for cutting-edge office technology, from managed IT to video security, audio-visual technology, and more. DSI has everything you need. We're flexible, local, and have the resources of a national corporation. Be more productive. Make more money. DSI, the heartbeat of business. Visit DSINM.com.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. A couple of pretty good ball games yesterday. Can we say ball games for boys soccer? It was Roswell defeating Clovis in boys soccer in Roswell by a 2-1 count. The game went 2 overtimes before the Coyotes, who are now 12-4-1, 2-0-1 in district, defeated the Wildcats, who are 12-4. Also, can we say ball game for volleyball? It was Goddard winning on the road at Carlsbad by a 3-2 count. This is how close it was for the Lady Rockets. They won the fifth set 16-14. Girls soccer, Roswell defeats Clovis on the road by a 2-1 count. And on Monday, it was Goddard nipping Artesia in girls soccer in Artesia by a 1-0 count. The Rockets are now 11-5-1, 3-0 in district play. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Things look pretty good for the next couple of days. Temperatures will stay warm with that high pressure system overhead. Low 90s for the afternoon high today. We should get sunshine and the wind should stay fairly light. We'll be in the mid 50s and clear for the overnight hours. About the same for Thursday, low to mid 90s and mostly sunny. Mid 90s on Friday and sunshine, sunny and warm for the weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Join Hot New Country 92.9 The Brand and Fiero 106.1 FM for a special live broadcast this Saturday from 10 to 1 at Roswell Ford. If you think you're stuck in your loan or lease, come see just how easy it is to get out from under your current payment. Top dollar for your trade and special incentives mean you can drive in today and drive away in a newer vehicle for less than you're paying now. We'll be on hand with some tasty treats and even a few surprises. We'll see you this Saturday, 10 to 1 at Roswell Ford, corner at 9th and Main in Roswell.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. U.S. airlines are canceling flights and adjusting schedules as some Florida airports close in anticipation of disruptions from Hurricane Milton. More than 1,500 flights scheduled for Wednesday have already been canceled, according to flight tracking data. Energy firms and Universal Studios theme park were among the companies halting their Florida operations as well, in an area still reeling from the devastating Hurricane Helene less than 2 weeks ago. Boeing and its largest union said they would continue contract talks as both sides seek an agreement to end the strike by around 33,000 U.S. West Coast factory workers. The company and the union, whose members have been on strike for 25 days, had resumed contract talks on Monday in the presence of federal mediators. PepsiCo cut its forecast for annual sales growth as consumers in North America limit their spending on savory snacks and sodas while opting for cheaper private label brands. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Your home for Armed American Radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
Town Hall News up next. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go away.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Bracing for Hurricane Milton in Apollo Beach, Florida. Marlon Oaks filling up his gas tank, hoping to evacuate soon.
I was able to get some gas yesterday, but then they ran out, so now I'm trying to get gas here again. And, long lines, trickling gas pumps.
And crowded highways as people try to head for higher ground. Milton expected to be a Category 3 storm when it makes landfall, probably tonight, if not early tomorrow. Roger Schulman is news director for Salem Media in Tampa and says residents are remembering Hurricane Helene.
People were really scared from Helene because it actually flooded their homes. We had the worst flooding we've had in decades, and now we've got something that is much, much more powerful.
Meantime, as Bernie Bennett reports, some people fear the destruction left behind by Hurricane Helene could alter the outcome of the upcoming election, given the storm's impact on one battleground state.
Far more Republican than Democratic voters live in the part of North Carolina that was devastated in late September by the historic hurricane that tore through the mountains and valleys surrounding Asheville. With less than a month until voters decide between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, state election officials are putting procedures in place to make it easier for those affected by the storm to vote. Residents in the region remain without electricity and water. North Carolina's election officials said Monday that it has affected early voting.
That is correspondent Bernie Bennett reporting. A big announcement from President Biden on Tuesday came 10 years after the Flint, Michigan water crisis.
I'm announcing a new rule, written into law, from the Environmental Protection Agency that requires water systems across America replace lead pipe service in every single one in America within 10 years. Must be done.
And the president says the new policy will ensure drinking water is safe for all Americans. Things going well on Wall Street for investors. The Dow up about 150 points. More from townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
City has lowered its organic revenue forecast for the year. That's after U.S. consumers continued to pull back on snacks and drinks. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. 5 Russian climbers have died in a fall on the world's 7th highest peak. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma has more.
An expedition organizer in Nepal says the Russians were climbing the nearly 27,000-foot high Mount Dhaulagiri during Nepal's autumn climbing season. The climbers had been reported missing since Sunday, and a rescue helicopter spotted their bodies on Tuesday. 2 of the climbers had actually reached the summit. The remaining had returned without reaching the top. Radio contact was lost between them and the team members at the base camp. No decision has been made so far about bringing the bodies down from the mountain, which would require extensive planning, manpower and equipment. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
One leading expert is calling on the federal government to develop a national driver's test for electric vehicles themselves. Just like young drivers, EVs would have to pass that test before they could travel on public roads. More of these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel witch and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce
of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy middle of the week.
Hey, buddy. Hump day,
That's right.
halfway day, whatever day you want to call it.
With the tippy top of the hump.
Mm-hmm.
All downhill from here.
Halfway through that riff, Mike realized, I don't know that song.
And I don't have the singing chops to get there.
And it's all downhill from here. You have to have the right nasal.
Yeah. Note
I was
told
told by
do emo songs.
I was told by many people that the reason I like the bands I like is because I can sing along in my nasal style.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, shut up.
Yeah, there is a certain whine to every emo song.
There really is.
Probably why it's called emo.
It was so funny. I heard a song come on the radio the other day, and I was like, I'd never heard it before, and I couldn't pinpoint it until I heard one of the singers do the whine. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's Blink. As soon as I heard the Mark Hoppus, where are you? There's like a specific style. But as soon as I heard that like twang on his voice, I'm like, oh, that's Mark Hoppus. This is Blink 182.
Sure.
I didn't even know.
I mean, certain singers have certain things that you could
very,
just tell.
Very specific style.
Like, you look at Aerosmith. I mean, his voice is just so iconic. He could say one note and it'd just be like, you're like, oh, I know what that is. That's Steven Tyler. Right. Obviously, James Hetfield goes one ooh, and you're like, oh, that's Hetfield. You know what I mean?
He ends his sentences with a nay.
Yeah. AC/DC, I mean, shoot. He just got a, thunder. I mean, literally utter any word in his singing voice.
What's sad? Oh, I guess not sad, but telling of the fact that I've been in country radio for a long time. I was playing this game yesterday because I had to go through and kind of relabel, pull back of the curtain. Now that we're adjusting to a new automation system, we're having to make some adjustments to some songs.
Inside Bees Butter.
So the whole afternoon, I was having to start a song, listen to the first 3 notes, be like, that's Kenny Chesney. That's Beer in Mexico. Okay. And it was almost like a name that tune situation. Right. I was like, let's see how many seconds it takes me to get this one.
Right. It's funny. So yesterday, speaking of the country station, so yesterday, one of our sales reps called me to talk about commercials and stuff. That part's not relevant. But she asked me, she goes, what do you think of the country with the flip over and all that stuff? I said, be honest, I'm not the guy to ask. because I hate country music. It's
fair.
And sorry,
it's a very
fans,
divisive
I'm
genre.
Just not. But I said this. I said from my non-country loving brain, I will say at least I like that they mix some of the old with new. So now there are at least songs on the country station that sound like country songs, because then I got into a whole diatribe about what happened to pop stations and when did country become pop?
Old man yells it loud. This ain't my pop music.
That's right. She was a member of the chorus, so she was in agreement with me. So
where's my Billy Idol? I don't know who this Billie Eilish is.
Right. And I just argue about it, but at the end of the day, I hate country music and could care less. At the end of the it's not mine. Like I said, people are like, do you like music? No, I like Metallica. That's pretty much
right.
what I like.
That's fair. It's a very divisive genre of music, although it's done a very good job as of late of breaking into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Sure, everybody's going to point to Beyonce, and she did what she did, whatever.
Right.
She didn't do it well. Post Malone has done it so well because he didn't just come in as
he collaborated with a country.
He collaborated with like everybody in country. He found the right
Beyonce
people.
really didn't, did she? I don't
Not
think
really.
There was any duets with
she
other
didn't.
famous country.
Well, that's the thing though. She didn't really write her own material. It was all kind of like
okay. So she just rolled in the studio, belted out some tunes, and rolled out. Basically, put on a cowboy hat and walked out.
Whereas Post, I mean, he was living the life long before he even got into R&B and the genre that he got into.
You got to earn your chops first.
He grew up Southern. He was writing songs. And half the songs on his new album, which, by the way, F1 Trillion, fantastic album, start to finish.
Yeah.
He had half those songs written before he even broke into country. Like those were just songs he had in his notebook.
Sitting on the bus, writing in his little.
But it doesn't, you can't really do like country twang next to White Iverson. It doesn't really work, quite the same.
Hold my beer.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of make the point is like, Sure, you may be great at one thing, but that doesn't mean you're going to be great at the other. And just because you walk in the room, that you got to still earn your chops. You know what I'm saying? And when you're especially when you're entering in things that are people's lifestyles, if that makes sense. You're a country music artist. You have a certain lifestyle. Even you're a hip hop artist. There's a certain, all the lifestyle that goes along with that, and people expect certain things. And so when you get to enter into one of those person's realms, they're going to make you earn that respect before they just give you the keys to the kingdom,
right?
So to speak.
That being said, like I said, I'm a fan of country.
Yeah.
I've become a fan of country. But that being said, still to this day, one of the best iterations of what country music is the Bo Burnham song "Pandarin." Pandarin, because that's exactly what country radio is. Cold beer, cool night, truck bed, a little off there. It's like. It's all of the things that evoke, the feelings for country fans.
Sure.
Just put them in your song and you got a hit.
But that same argument could be said for all genres of music.
Kinda. I mean, to a point. Like rock, though, there's a lot to draw from in rock. I mean, you could go the Led Zeppelin route of like everything is based in like Morador and like fantasy, or you could go the rock till you drop. So rock, there's a lot of variety with the different subgenres. Country, it's just like cute girl, dance floor, take her home, meet her mama. It's very pandering to that level of or that genre of people.
But then there's also the other side where she left me, she took my money, she took my dog, she took my pickup.
Yeah, exactly.
But rock, it's the same thing. I did immoral acts for her, to her, to get her, to leave her, to lose her. It's the same thing. It really is.
Yeah.
It's just from a different perspective or a different, but it's the same angst. It's the same.
Oh, it's totally, yeah. That's what music is, though. We're working through some stuff.
I mean, you look at, let's face it, in the genre of the gangster rap and in gangster rap artists, I'm pretty sure one of them can't write a ballad about their picnic in the Poconos. I'm just saying that will not. That they've got to hit a certain street angst, toughness. Right. The man's against me. City life, street life's hard. That's you
can't find enough baby oil.
Yeah.
All the stresses that affect the hip hop moguls.
NWA could have come out with "She Loves Me." Yeah,
it would have been great. It would have been great if NWA actually ended up being a Four Tops tribute band.
Right. I mean, it's like, that's just so it's all, everyone's got their thing. It's just pigeonhole. Country just happens to be, everything about pickups and got her, preacher's wife. It's the same thing. It's just different twang.
Yeah, I guess technically, but the level of pandering that happens in the country genre, especially, it's egregious.
It's the lifestyle.
It is.
I mean, I'm not trying to pigeonhole or stereotype, but let's just say of all genres of music, the sport of choice for country music, got to be NASCAR, right? I mean, football, they're all big, but as far as if you went to a NASCAR race, most of the people in the audience are country music.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that being said, NASCAR, everything's about pandering. I mean, you can't look at anything in NASCAR and there's not 60 logos slapped on it. You can't have an interview at a race without you mentioning 60 sponsors before you actually give your answer.
Well, it's almost like you have to say the right passwords to get into the club,
It's like, how'd you race today? Well, the McDonald's, Pennzoil, Coca-Cola, Ford did real well today,
I felt real bad for Mark Martin spending a good portion of his career in the Viagra car.
Right?
Yeah, you got to feel bad for the guy,
Well, there's so many winning by a nose, those types of jokes that you can crowbar in there. So, if you have no idea what we're talking about, look up on your free time.
One year for his birthday, I actually bought my dad a Mark Martin ball cap.
Yeah.
And it was just a Viagra logo on the front.
Well, and this is not my story, so I don't have all the details, but Gene Dow, our boss, there was a phase of his life that he would actually go out of town and do things. It was related to radio usually, but he would do things. So back many moons ago, he's a NASCAR fan. He does. I don't think I think he's got other distractions in life, so he didn't follow us closely. But he's a NASCAR fan, and so he went to a couple races. He went to Talladega one. He went to Phoenix one time. But anyway, in the course of one of his races, they had a Viagra tent. It was really like you go through, and I think they tried to get guys that might need it to start filling out to get see a doctor. But everyone else, you could get like the seat cushions, the Viagra seat cushions, ball caps, all the Viagra swag you need. And so you can walk out there looking, you got your Viagra hat, your Viagra fanny pack, all the whole nine.
Just head to toe. It's really the look that
it's like, I know where you've been.
I bet you were there for more than 4 hours, right? You should probably call your doctor.
Here's a butt pad.
You're gonna need this.
Right. But anyway, I guess we should get the hours started. On that note,
are things swollen? Here's a seat cushion.
Yeah. And this was also, I think, roughly around shortly in that era of now I can't remember his name. Basically the competitor to them.
Enzyte?
Yes. What
Bob.
Was that? Bob. Remember Bob?
I do. Bob
There's a whole story behind Bob.
Oh my God! Yeah, there's a whole backstory.
Yeah,
he got
Bob
in a lot of trouble.
Like, Bob was not an actor.
No, he was
Bob
like the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of false claims that the company made. Yeah. They ended up shutting down and just getting. Yeah. I think they were sued for like $1 billion or something like that.
But if you watched an NFL game in the 1990s, you saw the commercials.
This is Bob.
Right.
I always loved that at the end of the commercial.
The pool, if I remember
at the end of the commercial, they always cut to Bob's wife, and she has that like smile on her face, but a look of fear in her eyes.
Sure.
She ain't smiling with her eyes.
It's that Stepford Wives look.
It's very much oh dear God, not again.
Yeah. It's like, yes, all is well here, but there's a whole lot of torment going back here. Yeah. Yep. No, exactly.
Lest we forget, Enzyte once promoted by the great Jerry Jones.
Oh.
When he does the whole football throw.
I kind of remember that.
I do.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. He's like, you should try Enzyte. It's a great product if you deal with problems. It might work for you.
That's right.
He throws the ball and he goes, I do.
Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's how y'all ended up with Tony Romo. On that note, Brian Luck, superintendent for the RASD, going to join us here in just a bit. But first, here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Things look pretty good for the next couple of days. Temperatures will stay warm with that high-pressure system overhead. Low 90s for the afternoon high today. We should get sunshine, and the wind should stay fairly light. We'll be in the mid-50s and clear for the overnight hours. About the same for Thursday, low to mid-90s and mostly sunny. Mid-90s on Friday and sunshine, sunny and warm for the weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 62 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 37%. Winds currently out of the northwest at 3 miles per hour. Sunny, actually going to be warm these next few days. Warmer. 94 seems to be a magic number the next couple days. Sunny and a high of 94 today. Winds will be out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, clear skies. Overnight low of 53 degrees. Winds will be out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny, high of 94. Winds that will be out of the northwest at around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, clear skies, overnight low of 54 degrees. South winds at around 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny skies, once again a high of 94. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. And then for the weekend, Saturday bucks the trend. Sunny, warmer, 96. It went the other way. But then on Sunday, we drop down to 91. And then for Monday, Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, I don't even know what it's called anymore. We'll just call it Monday. 83 for a high. So we're going to have some kind of cold front rolling in Sunday night, looks like. All right, it is 20 minutes after 8. We're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we'll have Brian Luck join us from the RISD superintendent. That's up next. Don't go away.
Who doesn't think the dentist is a big deal? I know what you're thinking. What will they find? How much will it hurt? What are my options? Hi, this is Dr. Sarah Usher, and I am here to tell you that here at Carabelli Dental, it is our job to put you at ease. With options like sedation dentistry, you can rest assured that regardless of what dental work you might need, you can get it done while resting comfortably. Call our office now and speak to our knowledgeable staff about setting up your new patient appointment.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental or call 575-622-4455.
Are you ready to succeed? At ENMU Roswell, they cater to your educational needs. Their dedicated facilities and faculties provide you with an exceptional learning experience. From academic programs to behavioral sciences, business, health education, or technical education, ENMU Roswell offers a wide variety of certifications and degree programs designed to take your education and experience to the next level. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
It's one of the fall's best family fun events. Art in the Park returns to JC Park Friday and Saturday, October 18th and 19th. There's plenty of live entertainment and food trucks, along with lots of vendors displaying their arts and crafts. It's always a great event for all that attend. So set aside the date, October 18th and 19th, the 49th annual Art in the Park at JC Park in Artesia, and paid by Artesia Lodgers Tax.
Picture this. You're behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor. You're effortlessly breaking ground, moving piles of rocks just by moving a lever, and enjoying the sun as you clear brush across your pasture. We could keep trying to put you in the moment, but to really understand what this feels like, you just have to get in the seat.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
Join Hot New Country 92.9 The Brand and Fiero 106.1 FM for a special live broadcast this Saturday from 10 to 1 at Roswell Ford. If you think you're stuck in your loan or lease, come see just how easy it is to get out from under your current payment. Top dollar for your trade and special incentives means you can drive in today and drive away in a newer vehicle for less than you're paying now. We'll be on hand with some tasty treats and even a few surprises. We'll see you this Saturday, 10 to 1 at Roswell Ford, corner at 9th and Main in Roswell.
Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply is your one-stop shop for farm and ranch supplies in southeastern New Mexico, with a friendly, knowledgeable team that can help you find the answer to your problems. With brands you know, including Preferred, Pearson, Purina, High Pro Feeds, Ariat, Wrangler, Cinch, Justin Boots, and more. Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply is a proud supporter of area sports, 4-H, FFA, and the farmers and ranchers of tomorrow. Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply, 1105 East 2nd, celebrating being family-owned and operated for 50 years.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 24 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Brian Luck, Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, back with us. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
How's life in your world today?
You know what? It's a beautiful morning outside. Love this time of year.
Yeah, weather's been. This is, it's. I think this. Yeah, you're right. Weather-wise is the best. It's too hot in July, and it's going to be too cold here in December. Yeah, October, even in that first part of November, sweet spot. Yep.
Chamber of Commerce weather.
There it is. Absolutely. So, that being said, though, nicest time weather, arguably, one of the busier times of the year too.
Yes,
here
sir.
In terms of everything from sports to education side of things to all the other extracurricular activities. It's just a sweet spot of busyness with all that.
You bet.
So.
On that, I just want to, before we even get going on a board meeting or anything that we're doing right now, I just want to give a great big thank you to everybody that was involved with the parade and the fair last week. The exhibits out at the fairgrounds, the art, the animals, the technology that was in there. I got to go to the railroad model train.
Saw the boss over there.
Saw the boss over there.
Running trains over there.
You betcha. You betcha.
It was kind of funny. A couple times, because he literally camped out there. He did his morning show out there, everything else. But it was funny. Obviously I got to call him during the week to talk and non-train stuff. And but every time I'd be asking radio questions, and then be middle, get that train off of that. That's not supposed to be there. I was like, oh, I know what those guys are going through.
You bet. It never ceases to amaze me. And I guess as I get a little bit older every year, that just resonates more, that how much work goes into that.
Oh yeah.
And how many businesses and how many people have contributed and allow the opportunities for people to come out on take the time out of the day and do things with their kids. And
at the end of the day, that fair is about the kids and getting them to, because I've been talking about with the farmers and ranchers and the fair all week, but this applies. These kids are obviously, almost every one of them that in the Roswell are going to probably go into one of your schools here. Yep. Obviously the kids outside of that are in their schools, but what I mean is it's the fair is really, yes, we the people that aren't necessarily out, directly in the farming and ranching industry. You look at the fair as we go see great concerts and go ride the rides and eat all the food and all that. But those livestock shows, that junior livestock auction, the stuff going on in the education building, that's the real reason for the fair, to really teach these kids and to show these kids the farming and ranching industry, because at the end of the day, these are going to be these young people are going to be the ones tackling the problems that come ahead. Because if you look at food industry, you doesn't take a rocket scientist to run the numbers here and say we got more people on this planet and less people producing food.
That's right.
We got to figure that problem out. And guess who's going to be ones figuring out? It's those kids showing rabbits and cows and in the home ec side over there. Those are the kids that are going to be solving those problems.
Right.
That's why we support the fair, and that's why we're so thankful that all these folks get out and get involved.
Boy, and what a segue right there to that. You just named what a community learning day is all about.
Yep.
So we did take a community learning day on Monday, which meant that we could count it as a day of school.
Absolutely.
And we were able to have lessons. So we're getting better at these. Last year was our first year.
They kind of gear, like before back when I was a kid, fair day was a day off and you maybe go to the fair now. But now they're kind of saying, okay, in theory, it's your day, do your thing, but come out to the fair. Come out. We're going to offer you special things that you're only going to get this time during the fair.
When we had activities at every school, it was a requirement. I got lesson plans for every building that we've got in our district where they did lesson plans for tell us tell us how you're taking this grade level and you're really promoting the history of what's going on. And we've got 2 more of those coming up as the year goes on, but boy, that was great. We couldn't have wrote that down any better as far as what they're really all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, again, a great big thank you to everybody involved. I know there's thousands of volunteers that went into that, and it went noticed.
And tip of the cap to your coaches in the sports and those side, because let's face it, some of those student athletes that are on the football field on Friday night are also showing a pig or a cow, and coaches really allow those kids to work that into their schedule, because I mean, let's face it, that's a big week, and if you're on the football team, you know, you're spending a lot of time in practice getting ready for that Friday night game. So that's a lot of balls to juggle. They do an amazing job to work with these kids. And thanks to those coaches for allowing that to happen. You know, I would imagine, you know, in the day and age now, you get in the 70s or 80s, and sometimes the coach, you know, the football coach gets it's Vince Lombardi in the room here, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Nothing's more important than my practice. You know? Well, so that's evolved, but we appreciate those coaches, you know, doing everything in their part to support these student athletes and their farmers and ranchers side of them too.
and I will say this as everything has kind of transitioned from year to year to year to year. That's one of the things that we've noticed is that it does take a lot to get your kids to do things. And when you have kids that are active in multiple things, try to work with them. So you're right, 1,000%.
Absolutely. So big thank you to all those coaches and parents, because you think about this too, you know, because for every one kid that's got 30 things going on, there's parents hauling them back and forth, and sucking up weekends and everything else to make sure they can get to these things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. School board meeting.
Yes, that was one of those.
and just a reminder, we're having them on Tuesdays now. Yeah, second Tuesday of the month.
They used to be on Tuesdays, and then they were Mondays, and then back to Tuesdays now. So I'm just behind the.
Well, I tell you what, it works, and now I think everybody's back into the flow of things. It gives
but that's why I had a brain fart for a minute, because technically Monday last week was still September.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, man, is Brian even going to show today? And then you came, I was like, oh, good.
Yes.
And then I expressed my fear. So.
Oh, yes. No. We're here. Just a quick, I was listening to the show coming in.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. Just, you know, please.
It's just a reflex.
Please get out and support the local colleges as well. Dr. Powell and I visit all the time.
Absolutely.
It's a great partnership, and it can continue greatly.
And is it Bond 2? The one that deals with libraries. I don't remember the number. But either way, that one, now again, this does impact schools, because those are all libraries. The libraries in your elementary schools, the public library, the one in your colleges, all libraries impacted by that. So I always kind of give you a blanket. When you see those bonds on the back of the thing, one's dealing with seniors and the other's dealing with it. Others basically dealing with education. All of the above are good things to make our community better. So, and it's not extra tax money. These are bonds that have already been. Now they're just basically asking you permission to release these.
Right.
You're not going to see anything go up on anything in your taxes or any of that kind of stuff. So, as a human being, I would think you want better opportunities for people in your neighborhoods, better amenities for your schools and your libraries and your senior centers. So just do me a favor. Save everybody a headache and worry. Just vote yes on those and let them put nice things in our community.
I know we're very fortunate to have the college out there.
Yeah.
With the work that they do, the collaboration with our high schools, we're super proud of the work that's being done, and then the work that we will be doing in the future. So anything we can do to always support them, that's what we ask.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a sticky wicket for I'm just from Brian and those folks' sides, because technically they're not allowed to ask you to vote yes, but you know they raise the awareness and tell you this is really important to us and this is what it does for us. And,
right.
But I'm the guy that I'm not beholden to that. I'm like, nah, y'all should vote yes. don't. Like, I know people like to draw their lines in the sand and money spending. These bonds aren't that place to do that.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
You know, I went to a graduation a few years back at the Airframe College, and industry was literally sitting right there as the kids walked across and got their certificates and their diplomas, and we're offering them jobs even that day. So
well, and the work they're doing out at the college, assuming this bond passes with that money, we're almost at a point where, and it's glacial on how those monies and earmarked to these things and all that goes through. It's a rigmarole on, what you can put on lists and all that. But that being said, what they're building now is almost starting, and this is getting globally, an emergency thing, because it doesn't take a genius to tell that the aviation industry right now is struggling. There's a lack, and COVID killed it. The quality of pilots, there's retirees, there's their lack of qualified people doing these jobs. That's why you're hearing about all these delays, near misses of things, and stuff like that. That aviation maintenance hangar is how you fix that problem. Right. You get more people into that industry and getting, and so what I'm trying to tell you is what that thing's opening up could, in theory, create much bigger and bolder opportunities for this community just by you voting yes on that bond.
Well, and it has the opportunity to be a game changer. I mean, just like you guys were even talking about the air races that are coming next year. We've already started some planning processes because at first, whenever I heard that they were coming in, Dr. Powell and I were talking, and he asked my plans, and I said, okay, I'm not following you. He says, do you realize the number of people that are coming for this thing? And I said, I'm listening. And so, we start talking about the number of people, and I said, okay, so basically that's a Goddard Roswell football game plus that's going to be out at the air show. So we've already started making some arrangements for what are we going to do on that, that primarily that big week there, and about our schools, and we've got a couple that are going to be directly impacted just by the traffic.
Absolutely.
So more to come on that, but
they literally have a computer game that's internationally popular. If you know Flight Simulator, there's a whole thing about the Reno air races, and Roswell's about to be in all that, and that's international. But we're talking like almost ESPN level of exposure here.
Well, and what a neat thing for the town. I mean, we've already started making plans with our schedules to do everything we can, depending on the exact date. And where it will fit within our districts, that we make sure that we've got as many of our kids not gone on those days. We're not going to look for any tournaments. Not trying to chew up any hotels with that kind of stuff. So, as a whole, just everybody, this is going to take the whole town to pull this one off.
But I would even imagine, I imagine there is a possibility here, just knowing from the reputation I'm hearing from the folks that run Reno air races and all that. They love to embed in the community. They love to work with veterans and nonprofits. I would also offer there's probably a good partnership between the RASD and the Reno air races as far as educational opportunities.
Looking forward to it.
And incorporate in the school district, because I know they're promoting their sport in the industry as well. And guess what? When you get to get kids excited about airplanes at that level, that you got fans for life. You got, and quite frankly, people in the industry, know, and I'm going to tell you this right now. People that are in that industry, they're not broke. No. These guys are all guys that have been pilots, and they spent probably millions of dollars on the aircraft out of their own pocket. They had to have millions of dollars to begin with to get. All I'm saying is, you got aircraft mechanic skills. You're eating pretty good. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and I know. Just from like the theme that we've always tried to keep, is that Roswell's a great big place, and it takes every one of us to pull all of this off, and it's a whole lot easier if we can work together.
Absolutely.
So we're very much looking forward.
But it kind of falls along because the RSD. I mean, obviously you work hand in hand in concert with with NMMI and ENMUR.
Right.
I mean, constantly working with businesses within the community to meet their needs and things like that, to see, hey, how can we incorporate partner together? It's really the new wave of thinking in schools here. When we grew up, there was a curriculum, your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, you go. Now we're kind of saying, even at the early level, we're grooming to say, hey, what's their interest? Let's start training their education to match the direction they want to go in their life. And this is where we're providing those opportunities, even at elementary level.
Well, and that goes back to even something that we discussed last night for a future presentation is, our numbers. So, I mean, we're ironically, we're actually up numbers from last year by about, give or take about 40 kids. Still down from where we were in 2023, 2022. Quite a bit down from where we were in 21, 22. But it is, why aren't they here? And so that was one of the questions that was given to me was, I don't need a fluff. I want to know, what are you doing, to try to find the kids that we feel like are still here that just aren't in school.
Sure.
And one of the things that we've been trying to do for the last 2 years is really put that it's important to be here, not just because you have to be here.
Right.
And that goes back to what you were just saying with catching them earlier, and trying to hook them into something that might not necessarily be a traditional model, but it's something that they're willing to come to school, and to gut out the things that they don't necessarily care for, because they know that at the end of the day, or at the end of their high school career, that they're going to get the chance to go do what they want.
Kind of plant the seeds for their long-term goals at that time, in that point, because and when we're all kids, boys probably like, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be the thing. Girls, I want to be a teacher, I want to be, there's kind of those carved things, but I'm like, they're not really training for that now, but you're showing them this stuff. It's like, look, this is a possibility. You could be a pilot, or you could be whatever it is. And next thing you know, they're like, oh, that's cool, but you got to know math. You got to know this. And you start planting that seed early, and they're like, oh, I got to know this because I want to do that.
Well, then, right now they all want to be influencers.
Listen, mine might be dated, but now I'm kind of like, wait a minute, they're making $200,000. I want to be an influencer.
It's that whole technology and knowing how to do it thing.
Yeah,
but it is interesting. So much of the way things work has changed. But the irony is you still need everything you just said to make a society go. So,
absolutely.
We're excited about our numbers coming back up a little bit. Obviously, we'd like more. If you're here, if you're school age and you're not in our district, we're gonna start trying to track that and figure out why.
Well, and let's face it, COVID taught us a lot of lessons, good and bad. One is we can do a lot of stuff, if we have to not be together. But we also learn it's way better when we're together.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like as much we did to get kids to be in education of some way, shape, or form during a time when we couldn't put them in classrooms. Those kids still lost a lot of progress in really the scope of where they should be at that particular level, and so they're playing catch up. And so there's that thing where we're saying, you know what? No, we get it. A snow day or whatever, we can figure this out and have a school day still. But you know what? At the end of the day, especially in those early ages where it's fundamental and you're forming, the principles and the foundation for speech and for math and for these basic levels.
Absolutely,
they got to be face to face. You got to see and interact with those light bulb moments. So it cements that before you hit them with the next level.
That's right.
And so it's really hard to do that over a computer.
Absolutely.
in this current world of technology.
No, and I think where we can, we will take advantage of those days. But I think we fought tooth and nail so hard. So you're talking, and I don't want to say dire emergencies or things that just can't be avoided. But we will have some opportunities like that, and we're going to take advantage of them when we can.
Absolutely. But you're still kind of reeling from that influx here of getting kids back into the groove, so to speak.
Well, then we were talking the other day in a meeting that as long as that has been a go, we're still going to have remnants of that until I think it's either my third graders or my fourth graders will walk the graduation stage, because that was a group of kindergartners and pre-K kids.
Yep.
And until we can get them out, and then the irony is like as those kids have gone through, and now I have first and second graders, and we start talking about it, I say, okay, they were impacted, but not anywhere near like the last group was impacted. So we can't say that anymore, other than the fact that it changed.
Sure.
It did, and it changed things, and it changed people.
Sure.
Now what?
Yeah.
And so that's really where we're at is okay.
Exactly.
I may not like a lot of things that are here, but this is what it is.
Well, and this is, and let's say, oh, by the way, we're also in a world of we're completely changing the lifestyle of actually in the school too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going. That's where it's almost this perfect storm of problems of going on at one time here, because COVID hits and now we're doing with education. But let's face it, before that we're talking about safety and security in schools and stuff, and that has, because of that, has really changed the routine of day-to-day life in the typical school and all that. So you put this cocktail of things together, it's kind of like, man, no wonder these kids are having trouble navigating. There was a lot of changes, and let's face it, the people that have been doing it for years aren't comfortable either because they've been doing it that way. And so it's a cocktail of, wow, this got ugly quickly.
That's a relief because I thought this job was going to be difficult.
That escalated quickly here. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean?
I do.
A lot's going on here.
Well, and it's interesting. Even for instance, like this morning, Bruno Elementary School had, I think it was ride and roll to school. So they met at the mall, and the Chaves County Sheriff's Department, I think we had some SROs out there. Thank you to them. Escorted the kids down Pine Lodge, and I got a video of the traffic that was stopped at Pine Lodge and Main Street. And immediately my brain just shifted into, I can't think of how many kids are going to be tardy at Berendel Middle School now. So, or, immediately everyone's mind shifts when they see a large group of police vehicles. And it could be something really cool. Like that was pretty cool today.
Yeah, that was a cool thing.
But if you don't know what's going on, immediately it's so easy to let your mind wander. And I can't even imagine what was on Facebook for the first 30 seconds of that.
Is there a bad accident or is there something?
And I'm sure, and it's got to be true if it's on Facebook. So, but like you said, it's a mind shift, and it's the way it's just the way people are doing it now.
Yeah.
And it is tough. I mean, I never thought of myself as a chiseled, get off my lawn kind of guy, but.
Sure.
But there are some moments where you're just like, why?
Sure.
I don't want it like that.
But, as folks like yourself who've been in an education for a while, and what has been kind of preached or taught as tried and true is now starting to be put into question. And so that's hard when you're thinking, man, my fundamentals or what's we're doing. And so I know I'm getting on a soapbox here.
No, you're good.
But this is kind of what every single person in the RSD is dealing with, from the superintendent to the board members to the teachers in your classroom to your principals to your school secretary and nurses. They're all dealing with to the folks in the lunch cafeteria there. All those folks are in some way, shape, or form are dealing with these kind of changes.
Well, you've got to take the stuff that has worked and is tried and tested and do your best to try to morph it with what is up and coming. And you don't necessarily want to just get rid of everything. And it's interesting because even in the teaching field, you've got I think it was a line out of a movie of and I'll paraphrase it like a new teacher with old teacher, a new teacher with old tricks, an old teacher with new tricks.
Sure.
I mean, and it's there's a blend, and that's what we go to work for every day, is try to figure that out.
Absolutely. But this is where I always, and yeah, I'm a little biased because I'm married to one, but this is why we give a tip even now to teachers and stuff, because I will tell you this, no one protects your kids more than especially the younger ones, where they really do spend all day with them and things like that. I'm telling you, you got mama bears and papa bears in those classrooms with your kids. And by the way, the other thing too is and I'm not trying to knock money and all this stuff, but every single one of these teachers, they invest their own personal money, time, and effort into everything in the classroom. They'll run into things, the principal, sorry, we don't have a budget for that. No, guess what? I'm buying it anyway, and they're on Amazon, and their teacher things. I know this because my wife's been doing it for 20 years. So these are the people that are with your kids. And sure, everyone has opinions and thoughts and this and that, but you know what? The heart of every one of those people in your classrooms are there to try to get the best out of your kids, and they love them like I'm not going to say like you do, but it's not far from it.
Right. It's strong.
Yeah,
it's strong.
Absolutely.
How about some dates for some people?
Yeah,
real quick?
Let's talk some actual nuts and bolts instead of getting on soapboxes.
That's okay. And it was interesting. We actually had a pretty light agenda last night. We had a couple recognitions. We did some presentations on some of the reading work that we're doing in our district. We had a dyslexia presentation. We had a brief presentation that we're going to have to come back to on setting up some foundational work and some parameters for AI in the district.
Okay.
Going to leave that one for another day if I can, just because lots in that. Good gosh, lots in
lot to unpack.
Boy, I started getting text messages, even though I'm not supposed to get text messages up there at the board. And we use this and we use that, and I'm just like, okay, I got that.
Right.
But for the here and the now, we really want to be able to let the board, because that's their, those duly elected people, that's their opportunity to kind of help set policy.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things that we're going to look at.
Now's the time to get a handle on it before this turns into a staple or something where, you know what, you cannot function in a classroom anymore without AI technology doing that job.
That's right. So. Well, and or we have a problem, and now we're going to issue consequences / discipline because of the inappropriate use of AI, and I don't have anything
no ground rules.
I have no ground rule other than just I think that was wrong.
So we got to put some policies in place, put some things to say, well, whatever comes of this, we've got something in place.
That's right. One of the coolest things we do in our district is we have Thanksgiving dinner. And so at the elementary school level, our elementary Thanksgiving meal is going to be on November the 12th. Our mid-school and high school Thanksgiving meal will be on November the 14th.
All right.
So if you're parent, grandparent, and you want to go eat with your kiddos, you buy your tickets.
Yes. You should get a notice
yes.
sent to you either electronically or paperly.
Correct. But
to get notifications.
If you're an individual out there listening right now, maybe you're at work and you want to jot that down on your calendar, that's going to be the date that comes up.
Good deal.
Ironically, everybody's like, why do you do it so much sooner than Thanksgiving? And the funny,
to give you time to decompress from that turkey before you dive into the other turkey.
You're close. You're very close. Our ladies and gentlemen that work in the cafeteria, whenever they would have Thanksgiving dinner at school, like the week before, no one wanted to see a turkey at their house.
I hear you.
So
so they're all like, we're having enchiladas for Thanksgiving.
They had requested, and you know what? Man, that you talk about a heavy lift. I mean, we will almost quadruple our meals on that day, and what a neat opportunity to get out and eat with the kids.
It's if as parents you've never, I highly recommend you get to spend time with your kids there at lunch. They get to show you off a little bit. They get to kind of share their world with you for a little bit. And
if turkey's not your thing and you still have the chance, go get your kiddo and take them something from McDonald's or
absolutely it's
or any other sponsor of this radio broadcast.
Yes.
I mean,
the food is not the important part here. Although it always evokes feelings for me. Like you have your home Thanksgiving, but school Thanksgiving I like it because
it hits a little different.
The turkey's a certain way, the potatoes, the gravy a certain way, the dressing's a certain way, and it's not like mom's. But it's different, but you like it. You know, it's like school pizza.
I enjoy
everyone has fond memories. I equate Thanksgiving dinner that same way.
Right. Well, and we try to get out and serve. And we have high school volunteers. The kiddos come out from different groups, and they help set up, they help tear down. So it's a neat opportunity for
us.
Another
education point because these kids are learning service.
That's right.
Learning the importance of service and learning the impacts of service, good and personally, and what you're doing to other people. So,
well, another big thing for the community, we're working on our school calendar. As far as next
I know a little bit about this.
I would like to think that you would.
I've heard just a little bit about this.
You might have. So, just a quick refresher.
Yes.
These
people weren't there.
No, we're going to roll off of what our parameters were for this year as far as our number of days.
Gotcha.
So our student days that we have this year is 188 instructional days, which is what we're going to build our calendar for next year.
Excellent.
We do have a long legislative session, so not sure what types of changes could come out from that, but I think
there's going to be a lot of time to think about it and talk about it. Let's just say that.
but not. So if we end mid-March-ish, then we've got 20, 30 days to sign a bill.
Sure.
And we just don't have that kind of time. So we did check with Santa Fe. They had advised if you'll build off of what you've got,
but leave it loosey goosey in case we got adjustments based on what comes out of this.
Be ready.
Gotcha.
I think where we're at, we have always chosen the more option, and I won't lie. I mean, it pays off for us. It puts us into a different category as far as funding, and it does pay off greatly whenever we look at our raises.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way: more bucks means more things we can do, and you want to do everything you can to get.
Well, we're as staffed now as we've ever been in the last 6 years,
and that's to be honest. You want to see numbers go up and stuff. You need more people in the building doing those things. That's how you do it.
It's helped.
Yep.
It has helped. So. We had that meeting. We'll meet again. We'll take back to the November meeting.
Absolutely.
Our what we're going to recommend from the calendar committee. We'll take it to the board, and then hopefully have second reading in December, and that way we can let people know, because I get calls all the time. When is spring break?
Well, yeah, this is like your biggest, like I think of parents and people in general wanting to know things from you, and they will hit you up at all times. It's usually calendar-related things. Right. When's spring break? When's this? When can I go?
When spring break? Is Christmas going to be right here, right here?
We're going to have a full week of Thanksgiving. All those kinds.
That's that one. When's the fair?
Right.
And I'm like, call them, ask them. That's what we're going to do. Is
around October, September,
usually that Monday, whatever that Monday is in that box. But lots of work going on. It's you made a comment a minute ago about it's a real nice kind of mellow time for weather. But this seems to be we've got the first of the year taken care of.
Sure.
And ironically, I mean, we're liable to be closer to Christmas than we are to the start of the year right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just you blink and it's like, man, they're graduating. That's what's going on. I do have a question since we're talking calendar real quick.
Sure.
I know with this legislative session coming up, I've been hearing some rumblings in the news and stuff a couple of weeks ago about, there's a pushback about these 4-day school weeks, and they might be addressing some of that in the legislative. What are your thoughts? What are you hearing? Is there anything to that, or am I not hearing? Like, could that be something they're really addressing here in this next 60 day?
That's possible. My understanding. So is again, our district did not participate.
It really doesn't impact us. But I was curious.
But it does, because I think ultimately, as far as local control, I feel fairly confident to speak for the board that they want local control.
Sure.
I did advise that as that lawsuit was moving forward, that, again, we took the money from the state whenever we added the extra days, so it really benefited us. So I felt like that our district would have the potential to actually hurt it, depending on how far that went.
Sure.
But they all, hey, stay close to it. We want local control. I said, absolutely.
Sure.
My understanding from the ruling, which actually ironically was Parade Day last week, and was that they upheld that you can't not have 4 days right now, and that they would leave it to the legislature to determine what, if anything, was going to change. So they kind of set it up
saying
they handed it back.
Yeah.
They handed it back. So
more than likely, there's going to be people lighting a fire saying, you will give us a decision before the 60 days up on that one. Don't get this one stuck in a committee before we're done.
That would be my understanding. Yeah. I know there are several, and again, that would be if you said, hey, Brian Luck's opinion is that each individual town should have the opportunity to select what works best for them.
But here's the rub. It's like, you're absolutely correct. But if you want to go down that fight, how far are you willing to go down that fight? Because really, at the end of the day, who hurts the most? The kids you're trying to educate. And so so there is that and that's where kind of the sticky wicket that the RSD was in. It's like, no, we don't agree with this, but at the same time, we got to play ball because we don't want the kids to suffer because of that.
Well, where we're at, we chose that. Sure. That decision was made.
But I mean, these are what you're weighing when you're doing these.
Oh yeah, and there's so many decisions that go into that. But as far as moving out, I think that'll be a pretty good hot topic coming up, and that's actually part of our platform as a state superintendents association is again back to local control.
Sure.
And let the towns decide what works best for them.
And that's, and I don't know, maybe this is how we're wrapping up here, but it kind of feels like think about it. If a kid is going to school in Albuquerque in a downtown area, how they run that school and how the curriculum goes may not work as well as, say, down in Eunice.
True.
You know what I mean? It's two different worlds. You're not gonna put a skyscraper in Eunice when there's only 6 people there. Why would you? You know what I mean? If that's what the law states,
right?
And that's kind of what we're talking about here. So.
Well, and two, one of the other requests that we've had is let the numbers indicate the value.
Sure.
And as some of these districts have pointed out, if we're meeting or exceeding your expectations, and I believe even last year that was something that they tried to kind of put into that, but we never could make heads or tails of the way the data was supposed to play out.
Sure.
So,
and to be at the end of the day, measuring kids' success is really hard to put that in numbers because it's such a human thing to embrace, and it's like because and this is the fight that's probably going to happen forever about testing and when to test and how to test and what to test and who to test. Like, sure, but now are we teaching to test? Or are we teaching them to be adults? And so that's the battles of education that's going to go on and keep going on for a long time until we find that perfect way, which we probably never will, that we can, say, okay, this is the stats that say this is improving here. I mean, we can go on these numbers, but at the end of the day, if you got 12 humans that went through it this way and another 12, they're going to be different results because those kids don't learn the same way.
Right.
And so you can't really measure that way.
Absolutely.
So
real quick, because there's a chance that if I've got the numbers right, I don't know that I will be back before our veterans assemblies at our schools.
Yes.
So if you're a veteran, pay attention. Be on the lookout.
I know Goddard goes like bananas with it, but pretty much every school in the district has
November
an
7th is
program.
Goddard's because I've already got my invite. But just I would be remiss if I didn't say, hey, please pay attention for that.
And I imagine we'll be seeing and hopefully hearing from some of those folks here in the coming weeks as we get a little closer to Veterans Day here in November.
Well, and then again, we're already talking about Thanksgiving. So hang on, people, because here we go.
That's right. Well, next time we'll be all got Christmas break on the brain. So
let's go.
That's right. Of course, if you missed any parts of the meetings, you can always go to the RSD's website and go back and watch them and check them out. Of course, those meetings are open to the public. Like we said, they meet here on the second Tuesday of the month. There at the RSD admin building there, and yes, come out and please get there early because that's usually where all the fun stuff, the kids do the pledge, and we honor all the kids that do amazing things. That's where you get to see all that part before they get into the nuts and bolts of running a school district.
If you're one of the 5 that's still online after that thing's gone on for about 3 hours, I'd like to say thank you to my wife for watching. But
you know what, though? You're doing something right if your wife is still watching. Because if you lost her, man.
I think she just turned it on and left it. But thank you for letting us be in here. Again, as always, we love coming in. So thank you.
Having time and anything we can do to help, let us know. Thanks, Brian. All right, 9 o'clock, you're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico News. Just started.
Now, and over 1,500 pieces of heavy equipment. Florida National Guard, Florida State Guard, Florida Fish and Wildlife, and the Florida Highway Patrol have activated additional personnel.
Roger Schulman, news director for Salem Media in Tampa, says the vast majority of Tampa area residents have already evacuated.
About 500,000 people have evacuated, and it's being taken very seriously here. I've talked to a few people who've decided to stay in their homes in evacuation zones, and I pray for them because, as the Tampa mayor said, they're going to die.
And as Rich Thomason reports, Hurricane Milton is already messing with the routines and schedules of some pro sports teams.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are relocating to the New Orleans area to prepare for Sunday's game against the Saints. The Bucs plan to spend the rest of the week out of state instead of practicing as usual at the team's training facility in Tampa.
That is Rich Thomason reporting. A new book from Washington Post reporter Bob Woodward reveals new details about Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
In his new book, War, Woodward details President Biden's complicated relationship with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. He writes that the president's distrust of Netanyahu erupted this past spring, leading to a profanity-laden tirade. Woodward also reports that Donald Trump has had as many as 7 private phone calls with Vladimir Putin since leaving office, and secretly sent the Russian president COVID-19 test machines during the height of the pandemic. A Trump spokesman said that's untrue and described Woodward as demented. Greg Clugston, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 193 points. More from townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Qantas Airways has drawn up a stir after broadcasting an R-rated movie across an entire flight.
And the Australian carrier now is apologizing to customers. According to Qantas, there were technical issues with the in-flight entertainment for a trip from Sydney to Haneda last week, making individual movie selection unavailable. As a result, the crew chose one movie to play across all screens. Social media posts from users who claimed they were on the Qantas flight said that it was impossible to turn off the film while it was playing. Keith Peters reporting.
The Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been awarded to David Baker, Demis Hassabis, and John Jumper for their breakthrough work predicting and designing the structure of proteins, the building blocks of life. The prize carries a cash award of 11 million Swedish kronor from a bequest left by the award's creator. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. A free pop-up day camp has opened up in a North Carolina community hard hit by Hurricane Helene. Dozens of kids whose schools are unable to reopen right now get a chance to do things like make bracelets, draw, and play oversized games of Jenga and Connect 4 in a large playroom that's been erected for their use. The camp in Brevard is hosted by the LA-based nonprofit Project Camp, the organization increasingly traveling to disaster zones. Pepsi has lowered its organic revenue forecast for the year after U.S. consumers pulled back on their selections.
The company says it now expects its organic revenue, which is adjusted for foreign currency exchanges and the impact of product acquisitions or divestments, to see a low single-digit increase for the year. It hadn't expected an increase of 4%. Pepsi said its revenue was flat in the third quarter at $23.3 billion.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Chris and Viernes.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yes. You are correct, sir.
It is, I ain't gonna lie, with the weather being the weather it is, kind of not really wanted to hang out in the fluorescent light.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've reached frolic season, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice, cool mornings.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a little warmer in the afternoons, but we finally reached that frolic phase, I feel.
I don't know if I'm down for frolicking, but a little gallivanting.
Ooh.
Maybe I'm down.
Yeah?
Maybe I'm down for some gallivanting.
Well, what if we put gallivanting on hold and we decided to do a little lollygagging?
Ooh, I could go for a good lollygag.
I mean, I think a nice lollygag in between our gallivant is appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't want to trace.
No.
Don't want to do that.
No.
But maybe a little gallivanting.
I think a little gallivanting. You know, I actually just did a story. I was just reading a story about there's a company called, I think it's Acrylics or Acteryx or something.
Okay.
They created a pair of pants that have an exoskeleton that help you on hikes. They basically
robot
pants, yeah.
Whoa.
They help you push off when you're walking uphill, and then they tighten around the knees when you're going downhill. They're called Mogo or Mountain Goat pants. $5,000 a pair.
Or maybe I like this one better. Self-propelled pants.
Hey,
like your lawnmowers.
You eat enough beans, you can have yourself some self-propelled pants.
Kind of like the self-propelled little self-propelled pants.
You just pull down a lever and all in your pants just to go for you. Oh, if only Stephen Hawking would have held out just a little longer.
Wow.
How close we were to the technology. But the good news, so it's $5,000 for the pants now. But that means the technology is there.
Hey.
In the future, we could have just our clothes doing all the work for us.
Are they machine washable?
They are the machine washable. No, but if they're like
to the dry cleaner,
if they're like any other pair of pants I own, I'm not gonna wash them. I'm just gonna, set them aside until the scent wears off, and then throw them back on again.
Well, let's not go commando with these pants.
Actually, that's a good point. Actually, there is a jeans hack. They say you're not supposed to wash your jeans because it damages the fibers and the material.
Oops.
Right. What you're supposed to do is fold them up tight and put them into your freezer. Believe it or not, they say put your pants in your freezer overnight. Not only does it make for a great, put on in the morning, but also
that's a good pick me up.
That's a quick pick me up. Apparently, it also removes the bacteria. It kills the bacteria though, and it's just like the same as washing them. I've known people who literally only freeze their pants.
So using that logic, I could never have to bathe again. I could just sleep in a freezer for an hour.
Just throw yourself in cold storage.
Sleep in a freezer for an hour.
Exactly.
And I come out, April fresh.
Yeah, April fresh. Springtime warm and April fresh. Yes. All
right.
So it's good news though. Wearable technology we finally reached that point that we're getting close.
Like I wonder, like how far are we going? Are they gonna next do with the shoes and?
Well, I know where you're wanting is lift pants. Pants that'll give you a little more lift.
I never thought about it, but now you say it. Sure. Yeah.
Think of the joy of finally reaching those items on the top shelf at the grocery store.
Well, to be honest, when you did that, in my head, I went Inspector Gadget. And his neck just went looking around. I was like, yeah, I like that.
Even a couple inches, though, you'll find you're like, wow, the top of this fridge is dusty.
No, I do notice. Because I have a couple pair of shoes that have a big heel.
Mm-hmm.
And when I wear those shoes, I'm like, oh, this is how normal height people feel.
This is a perspective change. I just got a new set of tires. I say just, like a few months ago, got a set of tires. And they're like 2 inches taller, just all the way around. It's made such a difference with how I threw my leg out the car. And it took a while for it to hit the ground. I'm like, well, this is different.
Oh my gosh.
I'm on a lift kit now.
Yeah, I went from 6 inches to 7 inches.
That's right. What a difference.
But yeah, you ain't wrong. That does, especially if you're just used to things a certain way, and then you're like, it's Sheldon Cooper's butt groove in his couch,
right?
It's no different. He knew when something altered that couch. He knew. That's what it is.
I'm telling you, here's where I hope wearable technology actually goes: is conveyor belt shoes. Think of escalator shoes.
Yeah,
like
almost like tank treads,
like exactly like the moving walkway at an airport. So it moves slowly, and if you choose to walk, you'll move faster.
Yeah,
but you could just let the shoes do the walking for you. Ever since Home Improvement, when I was a kid, and I can't remember what it was, but they put belt sanders on their shoes to like rocket shoes or what. Ever since I saw that moment, I'm like, I want to make this happen.
We can put a man in belt sander shoes.
Exactly. You're telling me we could colonize Mars, but you can't put a conveyor belt on my shoes with some tread?
Yeah.
Come on, technology.
I think we can, but can you make one that lasts more than one trip with them?
It'd be a rough sell. Yeah, there's probably a weight limit, I'm sure. It's like moon shoes back in the day.
Yeah, but it's just there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And I feel like after 2 of those, something's going to break. Something's going to get in it. It's going to get wet. Something's going to happen, and it's not going to work anymore.
Now, I know there's Heelys. I've seen people with Heelys, but that's a whole other thing. Like, have you ever seen somebody?
Is that the ones with the pop-out wheels?
Yeah, with the wheels in the back.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen somebody move on Heelys? Like when they finally get going and they just
they kind of glide.
Yeah, that feels like I feel in danger when my foot is in this position, like in a raised position.
Yeah.
But that's like how you have to activate the wheel. It's too much work.
Well, to be honest, if you skate frequently, that's not an uncommon.
Sure.
Like for rollerblades, if you use the stopper, that's how you stopped.
Oh yeah. I skate infrequently.
Yeah.
So no. But I'm telling you, as soon as they put an engine in there and figure out how to mechanize the whole thing,
sure,
I'm in.
Yeah. But yes and no. I by the time they come out, I'll be at an age where I'll break. I'm at an age now where I break. I want, but I'd really be at that age. So. But in theory, it sounds good. I think I want poles.
Yeah.
Ski poles
to
go
balance.
with I think I want some ski poles
purposes.
to go with that.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. You do need some kind of balance.
Yeah.
Although one could think if you just carry like a steel bar in front of you for the counterbalance, you'll look like an idiot.
Sure.
But it'll work. I mean,
Or give me a
effective.
hockey stick, because that's
There you go.
to be honest, that's how I'm used to moving with wheels on my feet or anything that's not my feet on my feet.
Holding stick.
It's a hockey stick. But one thing I will say, and I'm going to end this because we got to get an interview going and all that. But with the ski pole thing,
right?
Now that we're getting into colder weather, if you want to feel more bad about yourself or feel infurious about other things, go up to Ski Apache here when the skiing starts in a little bit. And granted, most of us aren't skiers,
Right.
Once or twice. Just go up there and then try to ski down. Maybe not the bunny slope, but that one slope above it, level wise. And just try to ski down it while you're fumbling and all that. And you just when you think, oh, man, I got this down, some kid about the size of a traffic cone.
Yep.
No poles.
Nope.
Just them skis. Comes Mario Andretti and whipping through you like what's a Peekaboo Street or something.
Peekaboo Street.
I was trying to think of famous skiers.
There's a pull, flipping through flying tomato style like Shaun White.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, it is infuriating. But bear in mind, those kids were probably like forced into lessons at age 2.
Yeah, but they're 4. And they're literally...
Think how much better you'll be in 2 years.
But that's my point. They're literally better at this in 2 years than anything else in my life in 50. Right. I'm not good at anything else in my life as good as that kid is at that right there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's kind of infuriating.
It's exactly how I feel when I go to Asian market and her daughter is working the front cash register at like 10 or 11. I'm like, wish I could hold down a job at 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's perspective, but yeah, I could never pull that off.
Well, in all fairness, Sean, you're having a good run right now. It's got to be a record. Like you got like 5-6 years.
That's true.
You learn the ways, Sean. All right, let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. And then joining us here in just a few minutes from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra, we're going to have John Farrar and Cisco Brink join us. Of course, they're hot and heavy into the 2024 season here for the Roswell Symphony Orchestra, but they do have a big show coming up Saturday night here on the 12th, and with a local twist here with Co plays Elgar, and it's kind of a local playing music from local. And I'm poorly explaining it. That's why they're here to better explain it. But so great show here, and of course they got a lot of other stuff coming up on the horizon too through the Roswell Symphony Orchestra. So we'll get that update from John and Cisco here in just a bit. Before we do that, though, let's get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Things look pretty good for the next couple of days. Temperatures will stay warm with that high pressure system overhead. Low 90s for the afternoon high today. We should get sunshine and the wind should stay fairly light. We'll be in the mid 50s and clear for the overnight hours. About the same for Thursday. Low to mid 90s and mostly sunny. Mid 90s on Friday and sunshine, sunny and warm for the weekend. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 67 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 33%. Winds are calm at the moment. 94 seems to be a favorite here in the weather for the next couple of days, because that's going to be our high for like the next 3-4 days here. Sunny and 94 today. Winds will be out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight with an overnight low of 53 degrees. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny skies, 94 expected high there. Northeast winds at around 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, clear with an overnight low of 54 degrees. Friday, sunny, and guess what? High of 94. Winds will be out of the southeast at around 5 miles per hour. Friday night, clear, overnight low of 55 degrees. And then for the weekend, warming up on Saturday, 96 the expected high on Saturday, but we drop down to 91 on Sunday, and then there must be some kind of cold front rolling in Sunday night, because our high expected on Monday is 83. Our high on Tuesday is 74. So we're going to be warming up here for the next couple days, but looking at a temperature drop here, looks like first part of next week. All right, 9:18. We're going to take a three and a half minute break, and then we'll talk with John and Cisco from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra here on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Son, get in the car.
No, Dad, not your car. It smells horrid, and it looks awful. I'm scared, Dad. I'm really scared.
Is your old car really scary? The all-new Roswell Ford will take your scary old trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. So you can drive a new Ford or quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV for a lot less. For a limited time, get up to $6,000 in bonus cash on new Ford trucks and SUVs, or get 0% APR. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Roswell Ford has partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford with new management and a whole new attitude. 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 36 months and $27.78 per thousand finance on select models. Subject to lender approval through Ford Credit. Offers not.
A good night's sleep is so important, and issues like sleep apnea make falling asleep and staying asleep nearly impossible, but we can help. I'm Dr. Sarah Usher at Carabelli Dental. With the help of a simple oral appliance, your sleepless nights could be a thing of the past. But don't take my word for it. Just ask Lainey.
My name is Lainey Smith. I wasn't surprised when I found out I had sleep apnea simply because I had a horrible sleep pattern. I attempted to use the machine and it drove me nuts and I could not sleep with it. And then that's when Dr. Agger told me about the oral appliance. I would suspect I've been using it for 2 years now. In all of that time, I've had less than 10 poor nights of sleep. It's a complete game changer. I feel a lot better because I sleep.
This simple appliance can change your life. Call us today to set up your appointment so you can finally get the good night's sleep you need.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell, or call 575-622-4455.
At Artesia General Hospital, we know it's early, but schedule your mammogram today and save. Call 855-RAD-EXAM and save 10% off mammograms scheduled through October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And get a refreshing drink discount from Kith & Kin in Artesia or Blue House in Carlsbad. We use leading-edge, FDA-approved Genius 3D mammography technology to deliver more accurate results faster and with more comfort. Women over 40 do not need a referral for yearly screenings. Learn more at artesiageneral.com/mammogram.
So your pecans aren't as big and bountiful as they used to be? Well, what would Jim Gill do?
Hi, this is Ben from Roswell Seed Company. Few people knew as much about pecans as Jim Gill. And if he were here today, he'd tell you it was time to fertilize. He'd tell you just what you need and show you how to use it. Then he'd make some joke about your neighbors making fun of your nuts.
So when there's trouble with your pecans, head for Roswell Seed Company and ask them, what would Jim Gill do?
Have you experienced the Valley Cafe yet? It's much more than lunch or dinner. It's an experience. Chef Anthony Noble is a nominated Chef of the Year and manager with a 4.9 out of 5 kitchen cleanliness rating and a 4.8 out of 5 most loved rating. It's time for you to experience the difference that so many others already have at the Valley Cafe. Visit for lunch or dinner at 801 West Brasher, the Orange Building across from Church on the Move in Roswell. And save the Valley Cafe in your contacts. 575-755-EATS. 575-755-3287. Don't forget, we can cater your event too, and a portion of our proceeds go to the Dream Center in Roswell.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Astronauts are not allowed to eat beans before they go into space because passing wind in a spacesuit damages them. The suits or the astronauts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra. Of course, John Farrow back with us. Welcome back. Good to
Thank
see
you,
you
Mike.
again.
Great to be here.
And I guess you're newly named president.
Yes.
Here. Cisco Brisk as well. Good morning.
Brink.
Did I say Brisk? And it's right here, and I just got my head brisk, and maybe I want some tea. I don't. Sorry, Cisco. Cisco Brink as well. Is it Monday still? No, it's not.
It's Wednesday.
It is, but this is kind of this is your busy time of year here.
Yes.
Where, you kicked off the 2024 season here of concerts and events for the Roswell Symphony Orchestra.
Right.
And so pretty much every month there's stuff going on. And most of it at the Pearson here. That's where you do most of your shows here. So it's kind of almost there's a lot going on here that you might want to get some tickets and kind of mark and plan and work your calendars for some shows coming up here for this season here.
Well, we have we open what we call our subscription concert series Saturday night.
Yes, that's this is the grand opening.
Right, 7:30
Saturday night
at Pearson, and we're also doing a children's concert actually for fourth graders.
Okay.
At 1:00 on Friday, and we have special music for them, music from Harry Potter and some
stuff they'll recognize, movies and shows that sort of thing. They're growing up.
And we teach them a bit about the instruments, and we have the first chair players come out and demonstrate how they're played and so on. So we think it's a good educational experience.
Is that just? And I'm kind of crowbarring here, but just spawned such a gee whiz question, because when you think of orchestra and the music and everything else, is really your best platform to getting people to fall in love with orchestra music is through movie scores and things, because really that's kind of the platform where most people access that kind of music. You know what I mean? Is that really the biggest tool here? Obviously you want to get them into the concerts and all that, but to get them to light the fire to want to come there, is it movies and things that really help do that?
Well, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize how important music is in film scores.
Yeah, movies stink without the music. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, just think. Turn the sound off sometime, and it's just not as effective. So people like John Williams, for example, who wrote the music for Harry Potter, which is one of the things we'll be doing.
Which he's probably the Babe Ruth of this day and age.
He's
in terms
incredible.
Of music scores and things, because he's a household name in a world where doesn't have a lot of household names.
And by the way, he was the conductor of the Boston Pops for about 20 years.
Wow,
a big. So
there's a reason he ended up where he ended up. He had a resume before he walked into Star Wars.
Oh yes. But so yes, I think that's a good idea, a good thought that if you think about it. And I think the well-written film music makes a huge difference in the effectiveness of the music.
Absolutely.
And I know that the music is written after the film. It's the
because at least from my limited experience, when I see them kind of doing music scores for movies, they're usually watching the action and kind of playing live to it, and they're recording and syncing it.
And that's a special skill. They have what they call click tracks, and all of the musicians have headsets on, and the conductor does as well, so that because the tempo has to be exactly right.
So that's probably tricky work for a person that probably normally sits in an concert orchestra on a given Saturday.
Very tricky. Although I did have an experience once. I was a music advisor to a TV show. It was called The Mentalist.
Oh, I love that show. And my wife and I were huge fans of
Simon
that show.
Baker was the star, and so I was asked to be at a theater in downtown Los Angeles, and they had a full symphony orchestra sitting on the stage, and I knew a lot of the players. And the story was that somebody had murdered the concertmaster, the first chair, first violinist, and the whole story was that Simon Baker had to find out who did it. Turned out to be the first oboe, but at any rate,
it's always the least expected person.
Exactly right. So I sat there all morning and all afternoon, and they had 23 takes. And Simon Baker walked out on stage, and his line was, "Where were you at 8 a.m. on Friday, October 27th?" And then they would film that, and then go off stage, and they'd refresh his makeup, and he did it over and over and over again. And the orchestra just sat there. It never played a note.
Just had to look pretty. Well, people don't realize that like a scene in a movie that on screen time gets about 45 seconds.
Right.
They probably spent about 8 hours filming that.
Exactly
40
right.
seconds of what you're seeing on the
exactly
screen.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
But that's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
If people think about it, I mean, the music scores have played an important part in film for a long time. But again, when I watch a movie and I know that the music was written after the action, and I see how effective it is, I realize how special these composers are.
That's kind of neat. Like, again, because your ear and how you come from a different angle. Like, most of us don't think of that way. You just hear the music like, oh, that's cool. But you're kind of thinking, you know what it takes to do what that just happened in that particular moment. There's a lot of moving parts there.
A lot goes into it.
You got to appreciate the artistry and the professionalism of what's going on.
Right.
And from us untrained folks, we just hear it's like, ooh, that stab was in the right spot, or that zing to heighten the excitement was perfectly, There's an art and a science and a labor of love to get on.
There really is.
So. But that being said, the kids get exposed to some of that with the concert here on Friday.
Yes, we talk about
little
that.
Harry Potter, a little bit of, and because I would say of this genre, the Harry Potter music scores are probably some of the most recognizable.
They are,
in all of
and that's John Williams
right now.
That's John Williams, by the way. And
well, that makes sense.
And I can tell you because I've done a fair number of film music programs. It is not easy music to play. And if you might if you're a musician who plays Beethoven and Brahms all the time, I think, oh, there's nothing to it. Some of that stuff, music, I can think of a lot of scores. North by Northwest, really, really complicated stuff.
Well,
so these musicians are really good.
And I would also offer, like, let's just face it, Harry Potter. Out of those two words, there's going to be people showing up, regardless of the music. But that's where it stands up, where other movies have probably reached that level of popularity. But do you remember the music and the songs from it and stuff? You may remember a little bit. I mean, you got your Mary Poppins. I mean, they're all built around the music. But movies that aren't necessarily built around the music, like per se.
Right.
And I don't think the soundtracks of those are as memorable. And this gets to that point. If the music's good, like Harry Potter, like it could have been easily just some garden variety stuff they could have probably ordered off a shelf in a computer to save money. And I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't remember it. You'd just be like, oh, that was fine for the moment. And you remember Harry Potter. But now you hear certain notes of some of those songs that, you're like, Harry Potter. You know what I mean? And that's not easy to achieve in music and do that.
Not.
And when you have that's what you're talking about. That's if you can get someone to remember a movie or remember scenes from a movie because of the tune.
Right.
I mean, come on. There's you could hit the certain three notes of the Godfather theme. Away what's going on right there. You know what I mean? And that is a special skill. And so
there's actually a story, and I know we need to talk about the Roswell Symphony, but
I know I get sidetracked.
Music.
You'll learn I'm on a soapbox.
Do you remember the film 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I do.
Trying to remember the director's name, but at any rate, I should.
Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick, genius, and he commissioned a man to write music for that film.
Okay.
But in the end, he didn't use it. And he used the sunrise sequence from Also Sprach Zarathustra by Richard Strauss, the Blue Danube Waltz, and various other things.
Mm-hmm.
And the composer of the music, who was paid, but he didn't know that Kubrick had chosen these standard pieces of music.
Did you find out in the theater?
Until he went to the theater and said, wait a minute, that's not my music. At any rate. But that was Kubrick.
I'm sure he's requesting some pay after that.
I'm sure he was well taken care of.
I happen to notice.
You're right.
But, all right, let's get back on track. But the concert that kind of spawned this conversation, that'll be Friday for the kids.
At 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock at the Pearson
At Pearson Auditorium.
Excellent. And then Saturday night is, I guess, the official kickoff of the 2024 season for the RSO.
We have a rather unusual, so typically we have a violin soloist or a piano soloist. That would be quite normal. This time we have a cello soloist, a little unusual.
Yeah, but equally beautiful.
Gorgeous.
People that ought to play cello is one of the most beautiful instruments
it's wonderful
that you get to listen to.
And this is a concerto by Edward Elgar, the British composer, one of the great pieces of music of all time, just really, really beautiful. It was written, I think, right after World War I, and it's sort of an atmosphere.
So it kind of evokes some of the feelings from that era.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're also doing the world premiere of a piece by Mark Del Porto, who is a professor at Eastern New Mexico University.
Yeah, this is where we're bringing it back home. So we're starting worldly, bringing it New Mexico here.
It's a special privilege to be able to do the first performance of a piece, and we're very, very happy about that. And Mark will be there. He's actually an excellent pianist as well as composer, and he's played keyboard in the orchestra from time to time.
So it kind of explained, like you mentioned here, it's kind of a big deal to be the first to play their music.
Absolutely.
Explaining that to the public here, in essence, what that means is people that are going to get exposed to this song for the first time, more than likely are going to hear it from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra.
Absolutely,
from our folks here. Yeah.
This will be the. We're giving birth to this piece.
Exactly.
Mark has composed it, but now we will actually perform it.
Yeah.
And then
then years down the road, we'll have other orchestras, hopefully.
I'm sure.
Performing it as well,
so
he guess where it started?
He has music performed in London and various other places.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's really good. Then we're going to do a piece by Tchaikovsky called Capriccio Italiano.
Okay.
And a piece by Brahms, Academic Festival Overture. And the cute story there is that Brahms was given an honorary Doctor of Music degree by the University of Breslau in Germany. And he wrote back a little postcard and said, thank you. And somebody on the faculty said, Johannes, I think they wanted something more than just a postcard. So he wrote this overture made up of student songs. And it's called the Academic Festival Overture by Brahms. It's very lightweight sort of thing, but that was his thank you for being given an honorary doctor's degree.
That's awesome. And that's something, too, that, if you're not a normal fan to come out to orchestra music and things, because most think of these heavy, thought-evoking things, and I'm like, yeah, that's certainly part of it, but sometimes it's just a cool song. You know what I mean? It's like there doesn't have to be a heavy message or a heavy thing for it. It's just beautiful music, and it sounds great together.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
And that's kind of, now granted, don't get me wrong, some of the best stories in music come out of some of these orchestra, these composers' brains,
Of course.
There's a reason we're still talking about Beethoven and Bach and these composers hundreds of years later.
Right. Well, actually, it turns out that there's a Latin expression, ars longa vita brevis. Art lasts, life does not. Life is short.
Absolutely.
And what we know about a lot of earlier civilizations comes from art, and music is a great part of that.
Well, just think about this, like put younger people in modern terms here, there's going to be celebrities, there's going to be famous people that are noted for various things throughout the dawns of time, and as humanity passes, I guarantee you, if you're in the 1800s, there are people that were, as much as technology allowed it to be, there were people that were household names that you have never, ever, ever heard of today.
That's very true.
And likewise as well, just in our lives, there are people that were very, very famous as a kid that are generations of people have no earthly idea who they are today.
You're absolutely right.
And so a lot of that is flash in the pan, fleeting stuff. But when you get to music and painting and drawing, let's face it, Van Gogh wasn't born yesterday. We're still talking about Van Gogh. You know what I mean? Music's the same way. And so that's what the beauty of what you're hearing. And when you come out Saturday to explore, you're really seeing the newest and the strongest based in hundreds of years of, it's all, you know what I mean? It's all connected. And so even though, yes, we're hearing something that's brand new, guess what? It's got the bones of something from 300 years ago.
That is so well said. Exactly. No, that's really well said. Yeah, that's great. Very good. Very good.
And so that's
may I steal that line? Go.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Please, by all means. But really, that's what we're talking about here. Is you're seeing, and now you're seeing the next generation of people taking this music and taking it. That's how these things evolve. Art's the same way. But like we have Greg Birch on from time to time, an local artist here, and he's they're always talking about what's the next thing in the art. How do we combine the paints? How do we combine these chemicals to create a different effect on the art? And so music's the same way. I'm sure in orchestras there's probably, what if we tune the instrument this way? It creates a certain effect here. How do we do? That's.
You have to keep pushing back the frontier.
Absolutely, a little bit here. Certainly, and that's in all genres. You look at rock bands and things. That's what they do and that's really how rock kind of is. They say, all right, here's the rules of music. We're going to bend them and turn them, and that's right. That's kind of the bones of rock music. It's like, then that's kind of why everyone kind of looks at rock as this rebel kind of thing. It's like, well, it's because they kind of took the rules of music and said, yeah, you don't really have to do that. You do it this way. It sounds way cooler. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what, rock and roll did. And so it's evolved in things. But that's what you're going to see Saturday. You're going to see this evolution. You're going to see the history part, the new stuff. And so if you're never been exposed to this, seeing it live is the best way to do it. When you've got a whole orchestra of people in front of you and they're playing their instruments in unison, and it's right in front of you, that's different than watching it.
It's very, very different.
Yep.
And you don't, the beautiful thing about what people call classical music, just music, is that you don't need to know anything. You can just go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But the more you know,
the more
you will enjoy it from different levels. But you don't have to be,
Well, that's
an
when
expert.
you go from admirer to fan.
Exactly. Well said.
The fan starts doing research, starts digging, fan is short for fanatical. At the end of the day.
I hadn't never thought about it. Can I steal that line too? Yeah.
Well, that one's actually true. I didn't come up with that one.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
But that's the beauty. And I ain't gonna lie, we're hoping you come out Saturday.
Right.
And we make you a fan. That's what we want to do. We
Absolutely.
want you to go back and say, well, that was a beautiful song. I don't know a thing about it. I'm gonna do some Googling on that and see what I can find up. And then it's like, oh, guess what? You just got bit. And that's
Hope
what
so.
we want. So, but that's this Saturday night.
Right.
And right now you can get tickets at the Roswell Symphony Orchestra's website, which is roswellsymphony.org.
RoswellSymphony.org
Yes.
or call 575-623-5882.
Yes.
And season tickets are still available for one more day.
And if you want to save a little money and see all the shows, that's the route I recommend you go is season tickets here.
Absolutely.
And that way you got a guaranteed seat to every show this season. And like you said, you buy them all once. You buy it all. It's like buying bulk. You save money. That's how society works. And so you get to do. But then you get to go. And this is one thing I too. If you get your season tickets, then of course down the road you're like, oh man, we got this other event. I can't miss it. Give those tickets to your best friend, your neighbor. Get them in there too, and expose them to the music you love is too. So if you can't go to your show, give it to someone to get them a chance to see it too. So that's
beautiful.
Yeah. So that way you can kind of pay it forward if you just happen to get tickets and you're like, oh man, that's so and so's wedding. I got to go to that. Those life moments happen here. But talk about some of these other shows that are coming up here on the horizon.
I don't know if I'm prepared to do a rundown of the other three concerts that we have this season, but it isn't monthly. I think there was once a time back in the day, decades ago, when there was a monthly concert.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's once a quarter. Our Christmas concert being a key thing. But I really do appreciate you talking to us this morning, Mike. Like you mentioned, I became the president this summer, and one of the first thoughts that came to mind is when the maestro is in town, he probably needs to be on Mike Winters. We need to talk.
Oh yeah, John and I have been talking for years here. We have fun conversations all the time.
Let's talk up how wonderful a treasure this is to have in Roswell. It's not Roswell's community orchestra. I think it started out that way, perhaps in, 1959, the original orchestra was that.
New Mexico Symphony
Orchestra. New Mexico, well, at least Southern
Yeah, I was
New
saying because
Mexico.
there's Texas players and everything else.
Absolutely.
But if the state of New Mexico could claim a symphony orchestra, you're looking at it. It's the RSO.
90% of our musicianship does not come from the Roswell area.
Sure.
And it's, as you can attest to being to our concerts, it's musicianship of the highest order, and it's something that we would love to talk more about.
Absolutely, but that also lends to the amazingness of how good the RSO is. And I'm talking talent-wise, as far as the people, the players, everybody else, the music and everything, we're playing what people wrote. But the talent of those musicians, especially by the fact that you just said, they live in Texas, they live in the northern part of the state, they live in Arizona, they live in the southern part of the state. Guess what? When you have people in concert, you got to be in the room to practice being in concert. And it's really hard when everybody lives a couple hours away from each other. And so,
and it didn't just happen, Mike. I mean, over time, over the decades, we've built up this musicianship like it is today. And I got to say, I'm a newbie to the RSO. I'm a newbie to Roswell in general, but a lot of that can be attributed to this man sitting next to me, Maestro John Farrar.
You became a fan.
The maestro has been our music director for, since before I was born.
And the reason, to be honest,
70s.
the reason why the status and everything we just talked about, John is the big hand in
52
the reason why.
seasons.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you've earned that reputation, and you have fostered and kindled an amazing product here that we hope long after we are out of this room, generations of people are still talking and sharing and evoking the same feelings we are for it.
Well, I'm very, very proud of the Roswell Symphony Orchestra. It's a really good orchestra. It's a pleasure to work with.
It is definitely one of the bright spots in the state of New Mexico, and it is too big for just Roswell to claim. It really is. I mean, it's named Roswell Symphony Orchestra, but it really is. It's too big for just
very
Roswell.
True.
It just is. But that's the point of this is you've got such, and
Absolutely.
These are all professional.
Yes.
These are people that music is their life, and they're doing it in other facets. And by the way, I love doing this. This is also part of it too. So I imagine for them, this is kind of their fun. This is their chance to play a little bit. Where they're serious and everything else, but it's not their normal whatever. If they're teaching music somewhere or creating their own music somewhere, it's a chance to play in a different sandbox a little bit.
No, that's true. I mean, they're all professional, and just to review for your listeners would have no way to know this.
Yeah.
We will have a rehearsal Thursday night for the first time.
Okay. So this first time they're all together in one room doing it.
And then a Friday morning, but actually Friday morning we'll use to rehearse the children's concert.
Okay.
So we do that at 1:00. So then the next rehearsal is Friday afternoon. Then another rehearsal Saturday morning, and then the concert Saturday night.
But then they're running out of hours because it's showtime.
But you can only pull this off with professionals. That's what Maestro's
and
getting at.
Exactly.
And if I remember right, I think in past conversations, because we've talked a little bit about how you pull that off. It's like, they roll in 2 nights before before curtain's up here, and they're ready to go. They're constantly all working on their individual pieces and everything else. And I would imagine, thanks to technology, there might be certain groups that can work together in a group fashion. Maybe the strings can do something together on their off time or whatever. I don't know. But really, they kind of all work on that. But like you said, that Thursday. Now, granted, these are a collective group of musicians that know each other well, so it's not like they're strangers to each other. They kind of know how each other think and groove, and so they can, they have that advantage where they can kind of read each other's thoughts a little bit on those kinds of things. So, but they really walk in Thursday, and it's like, all right, how'd you do with this one? How'd you do? How are we gonna? All right, how do we? And so they're kind of, that's the first time they're saying, all right, let's see let's give it a go and let's see what happens here. And then they're constantly fine tuning and working on it that entire time till it's time to perform.
Over a period of 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of a crash course and stuff. It's but you or I could not. Well, you maybe, but the average person could not do that unless you have spent, let's face it, their lives studying, performing, and doing music.
No, I wouldn't even want to calculate how many hours of practice and experience are represented on that stage.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm trying. To put it in sports terms, you really have a stage full of Babe Ruths up there.
That's
really
right.
What you got,
right?
At their various their instruments and in their categories, they are the rock stars. They're the best in. That's a weird pun, but they are literally the top bananas in their fields here. They're the best at it, and so you get to see that all on a stage right here in your own backyard. You don't have to go drive 3 hours to go to a show and then drive 3 back hours to get home. You go, you'll be in and out. The show, the show will be over after a couple hours. You'll probably be back home by, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and ready to go. So, and you've got this level of entertainment literally down the road from you.
Exactly right.
So, what's the best way for more people to get involved in the RSO? Whether it's boots on the ground, whether it's serving on boards and committees, whether it's helping concert nights, serving in various capacities at a show is. I imagine you could always use more people to serve in those capacities.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, Mike, that so there is the board of the Roswell Symphony Orchestra, and alongside it is the Roswell Symphony Orchestra Foundation, which is also something you can contribute to, even in your charitable trust or retirement planning.
It does take quite a bit of money to and a lot of moving parts to get these things to pull off, and so by you supporting it that way, that's a great way to make sure these concerts keep going on.
But alongside those two base organizations was at one time, it's now defunct, it was the Roswell Symphony Orchestra Guild.
Right. Okay.
You've probably seen around town, I think actually in this very building we had some storage for them. It was a cookbook.
There's a bunch of treasures on the 5th floor.
Yeah, really. 2 different editions of a cookbook that the Roswell Symphony Guild put together. And the analogy I use is that with my kids' gymnastics booster club.
Yeah.
That's the cohort of folks that run an event, a fundraising event.
Yeah,
we don't necessarily.
They're the squirrels under the hood rolling around or the duck on the top. They're the little eggs underneath the water going 100 miles an hour.
Well, that's what the Guild used to provide for us here at the Roswell Symphony, and it's something that we've talked about, some of us on the executive committee, of trying to get going, because you've put it very well. There's a lot of folks that want to be involved, but there's only so many board seats.
Sure.
So and that actually brings me to another point. One thing we've brought back this season is free student admission. If you present a student ID at the door or come in uniform as a cadet at the Institute.
Yeah, if you got the uniform on, that's a kind of a dead giveaway.
I like it, but I think at one time, I mean, the maestro can chime in here, but I think all of Pearson Auditorium used to be filled, standing room only for certain concerts. That's
true.
That's not the case so much anymore. About 400 folks, maybe 600 for that Christmas concert. And a lot of white-haired folks, a lot of no-haired folks.
We do want to get the next generation in there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and so that's the thought behind free student admission and promotion efforts like this. Not just the young people's concert, but also the shadow orchestra that we've done in the past.
And I would throw this out there for all you young musicians out there, your bands and things, whatever you're doing, your rock bands or country bands or whatever you're in your garage working on your thing. Guess what? All of the music you're creating or playing or trying to get good at so you can get your gigs at the various venues and things like that, guess where the structure and all the things that you're learning and creating with your music, guess where its roots and base come from? A lot of the music you're going to be hearing up on that stage Saturday night.
Very true.
With the orchestra.
Absolutely right.
That's kind of, that's why we talk about Bach and these guys. They literally created the map that is branched off all these other genres of music and everything else. Everything begats this. I was talking about rock and roll, why it came to be, but really jazz and other influenced into that to evolve to this. But guess what? All of those trees, the roots are down in classical
That's
music.
exactly right. And most people don't give any thought to that, but that's absolutely true.
So if you want to be better at your craft, maybe it's time to see it at its most beginning levels.
Go back to the origin.
Yes, the origin levels of it, absolutely. And that's the best group, because I think if you're a true musician, yes, you may have your favorites and things, but generally most musicians I know aren't pigeonholed in their musical genres. Like they'll be like, okay, I'm a really fan of music brand X, but every one of them appreciate how the song's built, how it's structured, and so they listen to it from a different ear. And so I'm like, if you want to get inspired, come out Saturday night. I guarantee what you're going to hear is going to inspire you into your own music.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Everything flows from these pieces that we'll be doing Saturday night.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I kind of keep cutting you off, and I don't mean to, but I get kind of, I'm trying to get people excited about this.
Oh, it's fine. I'm not a very excitable person, so I need your help, Mike.
I feel bad because like Cisco's got thoughts, and I'm like, I feel like I'm cutting him off all the time here, but I felt bad.
Well, I watch the show. I see it. I know the deal.
He's like, he's a motor mouth.
No, I mean, 4 concerts this season. I do want to, before I don't know how much time we have left, but
5 minutes.
Concert this Saturday, 7:30. The Young People's Concert is on Friday, but mark your calendars, especially you season ticket holders out there, for the 22nd of December, the week of Christmas, the Sunday before Christmas.
You got a lot of Christmas on the brain around that time,
And maybe you can inform some of this, Maestro, but I think the reason why the Christmas concert is so late this year is because of conflicts with our pool of musicians. This was the only available weekend
that
to
was
do
the sweet spot that you could get everybody in the room together.
But it's a really special thing, and for my money, a wonderful, wonderful way to start off your Christmas week.
I was about to say that's a great way to because about that time family's going to be pouring in and the house is filling up and you're starting to look for things to, kind of get everybody out of the house and do. And I'm like, man, if that doesn't put you in the Christmas spirit.
And we're performing the concert opera, Amal and the Night Visitors, the one-act concert opera. It was originally a television opera in the 1950s, but a wonderful story about the three magi stopping over out on the outskirts of Bethlehem on their way to see the Christ child. 45 minutes, a short piece, and the singers, the choir, are coming from our way off Broadway chorus.
Okay, so again, partnering with our local talent here to put on a big show here,
Well,
as the RSO has done on multiple occasions.
Well, and like the instrumentalists in the RSO, the singers in this ensemble are singers of the highest order.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
if you never, to
professional
be honest,
singers.
if you've never gone out to the community theater for a performance, they put out great shows every time and everything else. That's another thing I highly invite you to check out when you got free time too.
So the 22nd of December, the Sunday before Christmas, mark your calendars. You really don't want to miss it.
Make plans, put it in the thing when the family's coming in. It's like, well, make sure you're in so we can get out to the show that night and all that good stuff. So,
And I think that's in the afternoon, isn't it? 2:30.
Oh, it's a matinee. Yes,
It's
sorry.
a matinee.
So I'm kind of used to 7 p.m. shows. So I just kind of in my head thought it was there.
Well, we do that specifically so families
Sure. So the kids can come out and let's face
It's
it.
a beautiful
About
story.
7 o'clock, certain age of kids are getting a little cranky at that
So
point.
that's my goal as president, to get to standing room only with that Christmas concert.
And it deserves to be, and it should. And by the way, if you have not been in the Pearson Auditorium in a few years, they did a complete remodel, revamp. It's entirely,
beautiful. It's gorgeous.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
facility inside and out. That's about 3-4 years in the window here. But if you haven't been in there a while, use Saturday as your excuse to come see the new facilities. Obviously. And so if you come for that, you're going to be blown away with everything else because, like, man, the shows, the concert, I'm telling you, with the cellist, with the whole RSO performing on Saturday night here, you're going to be blown away by
As a new Roswellian, I assumed that's why we had the Roswell Symphony, was because of that venue. Coming from Las Cruces, I don't think in Las Cruces, John, I don't think we have a venue like that.
Yeah. No, we are very blessed to
Pearson's,
have an MMI
yeah.
here in that amazing facility.
They did a beautiful job.
They did.
Yeah.
Although I do hear, and it's not from a performer standpoint, it's from an NMMI standpoint. There is one thing missing from that facility that's kind of sad. And the thing is those old chairs that were in that facility. When you have cadets, they all get up and stand and sit at the same time. So there's a unique sound that they all made.
remember.
That when they all got up and everything. So it's kind of a nostalgic feel. And unfortunately, the new chairs don't replicate that. So there's a little bit of nostalgia.
I remember that
lost with
sound very, very
But that's
well.
the only knock I've heard. Everything else is beautiful and amazing, but the chairs don't make the same noise they used to.
I had not thought about that for a long time, Mike. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, that's part of the character of that building and everything else too. And really, again, part of the history and part of the family that is the RSO. That's all part of the makeup, the fabric.
It's a great
of it.
history. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you the last word here. Anything we missed? Anything that I cut you off on? Anything that you want to make sure we get out there?
You're fine, Mike. Concert this Saturday, 7:30, Pearson Auditorium, featuring Leland Coe playing the.
We didn't mention his name, but he's the guy on cello. That's going to blow you away on Saturday night here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to miss. Let's get the 66th season off to a good start.
Absolutely. And he's local too, right? Is he with
the cellist?
Yeah.
No, he won a big competition in New York.
Oh, okay. For some reason,
Very
I
tough.
was thinking he was from this area too.
No, it's an amazing. I won't go into the details because it's a very tough competition, and the fact that he won it is a big thing. It's a big deal.
We all know Yo-Yo Ma.
Right.
It's like, okay, is he going to be like, he's the next Yo-Yo Ma?
He's
maybe?
the next Yo-Yo Ma. Right.
I'm just trying to think of a name everybody knows, and that's probably, when he comes to cellist, Yo-Yo Ma. So, very good.
No, he's terrific.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate
thank you,
the
Mike.
visit here. Again, RoswellSymphony.org is the website. You can get tickets for this Saturday, and of course, all the other stuff we talked about as well. Tickets will be available at the door. But if you want to pre-do them, if you space out and you're like, oh, it's Saturday, I can get tickets, no problem. Come up to the Pearson, and same with Friday afternoon for the children's show as well too. Get your tickets at the door, or you can get them in advance there, and like you said, it's a beautiful facility, plenty of seats. We'll make sure you get one.
Thank you, sir.
And
thank you very much, Mike.
I guarantee you're going to leave Friday or Saturday, doesn't matter, and you're going to be like, wow, that was way bigger and more, especially if you've never experienced what's going on before. Go there, and I guarantee it's going to be way bigger than you even remotely imagined. It's going to be, you're like, that's bigger, more better than I thought it was going to be. You're just going to be blown away. Guarantee it. So, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
You too.
All right, it is 9:57. I did shut up long enough to play a few commercials because that's where I get in trouble. They get mad when I skip commercials. They hate it when they don't get paid. I don't know why, but that's the thing. So I'm going to play these commercials, and then we'll wrap up the show. Don't go away.
comedian once said, "No one can tell me anything, not even myself." Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smotherman for The Joy of Marriage.
You know, most people stop listening and start forming an answer or response when someone's talking to them within 7 seconds, so they miss most of the information.
John 10:27 says, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me."
You know, when Julie and I were preparing for this, she looked right at me after I spoke for a while and said, "What?" I guess we all have work to do in listening. But you know what? Just like learning to know God takes time and focus and to know His voice, it's going to take time and focus to really get to know our spouse and to really start enjoying and loving marriage.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
At Martine's Capital Cafe, come in and enjoy a delicious variety for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Try our burritos, huevos rancheros, asado, chorizo, sausage, flautas, fajitas, chili rellenos, quesadillas, enchiladas, sopapillas, and don't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger and so much more. Everything is prepared with the finest and freshest ingredients. Martine's Capital Cafe. Quality, value, tradition, and the most delicious New Mexican food since 1989. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th Street in Roswell.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin & Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin & Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin & Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. China has more English speakers than the United States. They have more Chinese speakers, too. Here's Mike Winters.
And we're closing in on 10 o'clock. That's going to do it for us. Thank you oh so much for allowing us to be a part of your day. Take care. We'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow. You are listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Category 4 Hurricane Milton continues to churn toward Florida's west coast. The National Hurricane Center had predicted it would likely weaken, but remain a major hurricane when it makes landfall late Wednesday. The Tampa Bay area, home to more than 3.3 million people facing the possibility of widespread destruction. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the roads and interstates are flowing, but he added the traffic conditions could deteriorate as the day goes on. He says the state is concentrating on getting gasoline to service stations in need.
There is no, right now, fuel shortage. However, demand has been extraordinarily high, and some gas stations have run out.
Milton now less than 200 miles southwest of Tampa. Also at townhall.com on the battlefield.